me keep it from jumping around. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much. First of all, right off the bat, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from a distance. Can't stop lying. We all love you very much and thank you for being here. And it's always great to have you around. And it's kind of awesome. And everybody, I'm actually getting a little bit weepy watching all the other nice things people are saying about you. It's so sweet to watch it just go by and have you, because this is good. You totally deserve it. Happy birthday to you. There you go. I mean, everybody in the chat room singing it too. They really are. Some of them actually at home started singing along, even though they're by themselves, even though they're home by and there's no one around, or maybe even there are people around. Maybe they're at the office and they just went happy. Oh right, shit. I have no doubt that there was a bunch of actual singing joining in there. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna believe that, and I'm sticking to it. It's just get used to the idea. Now, I look forward to when we can actually hang out on your birthday. You were both vaccinated. All's well in that regard. So coffee soon. Just saying. Someplace where, is there a liberal roasters around here where we know everybody's going to be vaccinated? Where it's not even that you have to ask, because you wouldn't have to show your passport. You're like, oh yeah, you're drinking coffee here. Clearly, it's okay. So anyways, much love to you, brother, and I look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon out of this craziness. Seriously. And Hauli la Hanawa full of aloha. Right, exactly. Which is, I think, happy birthday. Malaka ain't the thing to say on Can't Stop Lying's birthday. Hubba diggy diggy woo. Malaka it's the thing we say when we don't know how to sing happy birthday in Hawaiian. Oh, malaka. Sorry. No. So it's not my birthday. It's not my birthday, Carta. It's Can't Stop Lying's birthday in our chat room. So and you know our intrepid producer from a distance, the guy who daily throws monkey wrenches at me and says juggle, because that's basically what it is. If it wasn't for Can't Stop Lying, I'd have to find videos to watch that I haven't watched already. So there's less of a chance that there'll be duds if our dear CSL hasn't already perused them. So it's good. He throws himself on the grenade of weeding through this shit, and then I don't have to do the stuff I've already watched, and us all pretend that I'm just shocked by how awful it is. Never mind. Anyways, just to everybody all day long, wishing CSL a happy birthday, and all of today's super chats will be going as to get a gift, or as for him to get himself a gift. So let me know what our tally is at the end of the day, because that's the gift we're getting for CSL. Just so you know. Yeah. That's the way it's got to be. It's his birthday. For real. All right. So, shall we get... Okay. Where do we get started? Okay. First of all, you know how Dinesh D'Souza is a complete asshole. You know how that's true? Water is wet. Women have secrets, and Dinesh D'Souza is an asshole. I think that's the quote from the Last Boy Scout. Bruce Willis, Damon Wayans. Very underrated Shane Black vehicle. Lovely. Yes, Can't Stop Lying is indeed a guy. It is true. This is thank you for the hype train also over on Twitch. Hype train. All right. So we've just basically Dinesh D'Souza is now pegging the a-hole meter in terms of his own just disgusting rhetoric towards the Capitol Police, and I mean it's just gross. And we'll get to some of that as we go forward. Because we got a whole slather of disgusting today. We got some Tucker. We got some Mike Lindell, which will be kind of a break in the... Yeah. And then Ted Cruz, with Don Jr. So if you've eaten, trigger warning. All right. But right now, I think the person trying to out a-hole Dinesh D'Souza is, of course, Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck, who is a man in search of a brand. He's been vacillating between this, like, I don't know, his little horse farm properties or his Arizona spa that he part owns or some shit. And then he's back on, moon base a-hole, his like, oddly tronific, nonsensical studios. I mean, it's basically just looks like any right-wing studio that you'd have. I mean, this is, what you got to do is, and I don't know how Rush Limbaugh managed to sidestep this. I guess it was a generalized understanding that he had to be rich so he could look like crap every day and his desk was a mess and like that. I was always amazed, considering how much money Rush Limbaugh had and made, that his studio just looked like dreck all the time, right? Glenn is trying to out-money him by looking like he already has money, whatever this nonsense is, with his ice mics and his blue hue, and it's very strange. Anyways, I totally have studio envy. I'm not hiding it at all. I mean, what I could do with that space, and I mean, this is in case anybody shows up and like, who's this guy on my timeline? I want them to know right away who's eating their time. Me. This is for trolls who's this guy? It's right there. So, it's right there. And it's pretty simple. This is a normal lower third. You know what I mean? It's nothing really, it glows a little bit. But it's, it's just a name. It's right there, And then my signature's up in the corner, which is a little graphic I made. And I made that partly as a logo, but partly for when this thing stopped working for a little while. I was like, all right, I got to brand it somehow and lock it in. But that's it. This is it right here. And then when we go to me like this, it's just that. So you're on your own. If you don't know who I am now, I don't know, it's tough. But nobody can complete with the number of, maybe Mancow in Chicago, who got all of his design style from, I think from Saddam Hussein, actually. But Glenn Beck is a close second, He's a radio Ayatollah. He's the Ayatollah. He's the Ayatollah of Asahola, and that's where everything has to have his logo on it and whatever. Okay, so that said, this video he put up is the 10 stages of genocide may be happening here now in all caps, but without any exclamation points. So it's now. It's not a now, it's more of a now, I guess. We'll see. Who can say? But apparently I don't know I don't know which one. I know the 4 stages of grief. Who doesn't at this point? Thanks, COVID. You asshole. That's today's word, apparently. But this is the 10 stages of genocide. I don't know if we'll get through all 10. I also don't know if any of the 10 stages of genocide involve getting something lanced on your face. Now, we do not wish skin cancer on anyone, and we also know that Glenn Beck has been spending an inordinate amount of time in the sun in an odd way, but he definitely has 2 circular Band-Aids on his face. And some other curious spots. Glenn, we don't like you. We think you're full of shit. You're mean-spirited and a total dick and a coward and a fraud. But we don't wish ill health on you. We want you to live a long life where we can call you a coward and a dick and a fraud forever. You're welcome. Because I'm lovely. Oh, Gonzo, thanks so much. Oh, you're moving. Well, I hope you're moving someplace great, and we appreciate the super chat, which we'll go to. Can't stop lying today because it's his birthday. Thank you, Jill, as well. It's so great. Hi, Gonzo. Good to have you back, man. Good to see you. It's nice that you could pass by. I hope wherever you're moving, it's awesome. Okay. Now, maybe we'll find out what the spots on Glenn Beck's face are or were, but I don't know. But I remember like just clicking on this and immediately going, is that a something? It's a something.
Ultra-conservative members of the U.S. Congress and other...
Oh, okay. 1, 2, and a third one hidden by his hat. There's a bigger one up here. Are zits, lanced boils, or lasered spots of concern? I'm gonna go with you need a diet overview and an exercise plan, Glenn. You got to give your body resilience to fight back against anything, even diseases from the outside. You still got to, Botox. I don't think so. Call Dr. Pimple Popper. I think she just left.
Political officials with far-right...
Oh, another one. No, that's just a big Band-Aid. Okay, there might be something up in here, but that's a full-on band. That's a big one. Yipe. Glenn, yikes. Take a day off, dude. Shit.
Are waging organized and seemingly a well-coordinated attack against prominent U.S. biological scientists. In parallel, conservative news outlets, that would be us,
would it? I don't know if you qualify, but I don't know what he's talking about yet, so we'll see.
They are talking about us. I knew they would. Repeatedly and purposely promote disinformation designed to portray key American scientists as enemies.
Yes, yeah, that would be the Fire Fauci crowd. The this is all a plandemic. It's not real. They're trying to kill us by making us magnetic. And all we need to do is take some horse paste or fish tank cleaner. Oh, you think? Oh, you don't know? Oh, you haven't seen horse paste yet, have you? You missed horse paste. Okay, hold on one second. Let's see. Go in here. I think it's on the Daily Beast. It's in here somewhere. Let's see. Where is it? There it is. There you go. Just horse paste. Yeah, that's right. I'm already there, dummy. All right, hold on. Now I gotta log in and this thing. Give me a second, doing my thing, so you can see the horse paste story. Yeah, there you go. Pharmacists fight off COVID truthers demanding horse medicine instead of the jab. It's a great, by the way, fantastic artwork. None of this Newsmax Fiverr bullshit. They've got an animator or an artist on staff. Yeah. These geniuses have been convinced to pass on the vaccine and raid rural farm stores so that they can suck down sheep drench, which is also a thing. Sheep drench. I don't trust people who create a vaccine, but I will eat rural pharmaceuticals for animals. Now, we've heard stories of people using like farm antibiotics to fight stuff because it's cheaper than purchasing if you don't have insurance, the regular antibiotics. There's stories about this all over the place. That's not what this is. It's not snake oil, literally, but as bogus COVID-19 miracle drugs go, horse paste comes pretty close. As coronavirus infections raise across the unvaccinated, those suspicious of the shot are championing a new supposed COVID-19 cure thanks to a dubious study of ivermectin, a drug used in humans to treat parasites like scabies. By the way, anybody who's touting ivermectin has had scabies. Let's just, not that, and most people who've lived through the 90s have had scabies, but have definitely gone, I don't know, I took it for scabies, it's no big deal. Like, you have to get, by the way, you have to have an extreme case of scabies to where whatever the shampoo or body wash they give you, like for lice, it's lice and scabies. If the shampoo and body wash stuff doesn't get whatever it is off you, and some people know that when I grew up in Kentucky, we had a family that went to my school, and they were the reason my third grade class got lice 3 times. One of the kids from that family was in my class, and they had brought in this powder and like dusted all of our desks with it, and she had to sit in the hallway and outside when she had, it was gross. Yeah. So anyways, poor thing. Devotees have besieged pharmacists with prescriptions from shady online prescribers, forcing pharmacies to crack down and treat the anti-parasitic drugs like opioids. As human-approved ivermectin prescriptions have been harder to come by, enthusiasts have taken to raiding rural tractor supply stores in search of ivermectin horse paste packed with apple flavor, which I think is that's an upside. I like anything that's apple flavor. I think my favorite Jolly Rancher flavor gotta be sour apple. Watermelon is also good. It's the only candy that, watermelon juice, gross. But if you're going to have candy, watermelon candy, Jolly Rancher, that was the way to go when I was a kid. Also, sour apple, very good. So, there you go. And weigh the benefits of taking ivermectin sheep drench. That beats the shit out of a tested antiviral a vaccine. And noromectin injection for swine and cattle. In their defense, injection for swine and cattle. Okay. There is certainly a noticeable increase in calls to poison centers regarding ivermectin being misused. A Texas-based poison control specialist who requested anonymity due to concerns of repercussions told the Daily Beast via email, "It's clear that a vast majority are associated with the belief that it will prevent or treat COVID. That said, I do want to be careful not to be sensational. There's no epidemic of ivermectin overdoses in hospital, but it's needless suffering given the lack of conclusive evidence of benefit, all to treat and prevent a disease for which there's a free and widely available vaccine." Why would you want to take a free and widely available vaccine that might make you magnetic when you can go to a tractor store, buy some sheep drench, and guzzle it because it's apple. Apple. How's the ivermectin? All right. By the way, the most common side effect from it is intestinal distress. But enough to get you hospitalized. What a terrible thing. To just roll into someone's hospital on a gurney, smelling like apple, and... Right. This, by the way, for the record, this is the face of a man who's sucked down some sheep drench. Again, if it's something serious, Glenn, I wish you well. But if it's not, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
This cannot be tolerated. So now it will be a federal hate crime. That's what they're suggesting. This is a scientific journal, peer-reviewed paper.
Yes, unlike the papers where you're getting your medical information from.
Federal hate crime to criticize Fauci or science and scientists. Well, it was...
No. No, you can criticize Fauci and scientists. That's not what they were saying at all. Just in the little bit you read, I mean, unless it leads to violence against them, which, clearly some of the folks that they're talking about, because Glenn isn't calling for Fauci to be killed. He thinks that, because he's the entry-level Fauci and anti-vax mentality. He's the, if you're just putting your toe in the water of being an anti-vaxxer or wanting people at the CDC or the NIH murdered, you don't dive. He's not the deep end of the pool. He's where you get used to it before you really start swimming.
I mean, now you have completed your journey to the dark side.
By the way, lately, Glenn has been watching my videos about himself and trying to do more voices to fantastic effect. Few people come across as more charming than a guy who actually is beginning to resemble the Emperor. Glenn, don't do it.
They have completed the circle and have become the medieval church. They've done it. They have completely become
because the stoning of heretics.
A society with inquisitions and lock you in the tower if you speak out against them.
And
Well, no. If you call for violence against them, you can speak out against them. But yeah.
Congratulations, science.
and white conservative, especially white conservative men, are the heretics.
Can I tell you something?
Can I tell you something? Here's how it works. Just for you two guys. This has nothing to do with you being white or conservative. This is the ramifications of being villainous assholes. It ain't, and by the way, keep in mind that these people think that BLM play the victim card based on race all the time. That they are against the playing of the race card or the victim card. Just to clarify. But please, Glenn, tell us something. Please tell us that you're actually black and you have a skin disorder that makes you look like Colonel Sanders.
I have always wondered a couple of things.
What do vegetables taste like, and what's all the hype? And why would anyone go to the gym? Are those the questions? What's it like? The great questions that bounce through Glenn Beck's mind. What would it be like if my diet didn't consist entirely of ding-dongs and Mr. Pibb? Is that the question? What if I could settle on one look for my studio instead of vacillating between Glenn Beck 1990s spaceship, and ski lodge, and I guess Reno, Nevada massage spa. These are the three.
I've talked about this for years.
Okay. Obviously, we're not. You've been talking about this for years. I haven't been watching you for years, Glenn. We watched you when you were on a real network and you had a blackboard, and mostly just for laughs. So, catch me up.
30 years. You and I first started talking about serious things 30, 40 years ago.
So you started talking about serious things, but you continue to be inserious.
It was exactly the same question that I now have answered. I've always wondered, how did the Germans not see this coming?
Not see this coming? Really, dude? How did the Germans not see this coming? Fucking hell. And by the way, what he means is how did the Germans not see that they were going to get in trouble for the whole, Auschwitz thing or whatever? I mean, come on. How did they not see that invading Poland was a mistake? They should have just bought it. Right, Glenn? How did they not see this coming? Not see this? Oh, shit.
How did Hitler get away with all of this? Second.
How did he get away with it? And, because I was reading this book on, if you want to accomplish something in life, you pick someone that was successful and just do what they did. Right, Glenn?
Thing. How did the Jews not leave? How did they not?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it kind of their fault? What are you, stupid? Yeah, Jews. Holy shit. How did they not see it? How did the Jews not see it coming? Christ. What the fuck is wrong with you, Glenn? Holy hell. Yeah, didn't they get the fascism Amber Alert on their cell phones? What the hell?
See this coming. It's so clear who they were targeting and what.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of their fault, right, Glenn? I mean, if you didn't see it coming, do you really deserve to survive? I mean, isn't this... Glenn, what are you thinking? It's just Darwinism? the Ashkenazis aren't as smart as the dark web says they are.
Was coming. How did they not get out? I understand both of those now. How did Hitler convince the Germans? Well, it's happening here, right now.
One step at a time.
Yeah, history.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, one step. Of course, I'm curious. Okay, I was going to say something. I want to see what he thinks the first step is. God, this is awful.
Doesn't just repeat itself. History is repeating itself right now.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I mean, Glenn, you might be blaming the Jews for everything because you name drop George Soros almost as much as Rudy Giuliani does. But the rest of the world, largely, especially the Western world of which you are a part, has moved on from that bullshit. Nobody's going, the greats, the elders of Zion or whatever the hell that thing is. Jesus.
Half of the country is being convinced that there is an evil menace that is trying to destroy everything that the other side loves.
That's basically what your show is. Glenn, that is literally the narrative of your show every day. Now, luckily, you're largely a failure. You're not really, like I said, you're entry level, but you're not really turning anyone. You kind of are on a hamster wheel of right-wing talking points. So the rest of us kind of can relax, like you and Dinesh D'Souza and to some degree Ben Shapiro. There's just this kind of like whatever wheel that everybody gets on. They're not down the Tucker lane like that. You're not enough for the Tucker fans, right? So we're not too worried about you. But that is basically your show. Is that it's actually Poland is part of the Rhineland.
And they've got to be rooted out, and they've got to be indoctrinated or removed from society. That is what happened to the Germans. The second thing, the Jewish people, conservatives. When they say white people, they don't mean white people. They mean you. They mean...
Well, I don't know if he got moles removed. We're still trying to figure that out. I'm guessing he was cleaning his BB gun and it went off. So when they're all the anti-white rhetoric you hear is anti-Jewish. That's the storyline now.
Conservatives. So why aren't we all leaving? For exactly the same reason.
Because you only speak German and you can't get papers to get out of the country, and the Nazi Party has control over the borders. And you could leave anytime you want. Bye. Also, holy shit. I mean, talk about, like, shit-talking America. This is, according to Glenn Beck, America is 1930 Germany. Right now.
I'm not leaving my country. No. My country is falling into madness. I am not leaving my country to become that. No. And it can't get worse than this. It can't get worse than this. Mm-hmm. I mean, people are going to wake up. At some point, they're going to wake up and see that this is wrong.
Yeah, this is crazy, but they're not going to go any further with it.
Right. And because people will wake up. I mean, my neighbors aren't going to turn on me because I'm fill in the blank.
Yes, fill in the blank, asshole. Please do. Fill in that blank. Your neighbors are not going to turn on you unless you were one of the assholes that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. But if you were just there, you're just their asshole neighbor. And you remain so forever. Nobody is coming for you, you egomaniacal dipshit. Nobody gives a goddamn. This is actually his nightmare scenario. It isn't that Americans are going to start snitching on each other for the state, and we're suddenly going to have a Chinese social credit score or any of that stuff. None of that. His nightmare is that things are actually improving and are relatively normal. I mean, we're not talking he's been selling. You have to understand, in his regular, like, the biggest pivot point, I would say, for his entire show right now is the concept of the Great Reset, which is that there's going to be some sort of like a global wiping away of all credit debt, all monetary, like just a big, like, let's start from scratch. The thing's stacked up too much, it's a mess. We need to wipe it out and start fresh. And that it's going to be this, basically like this Wizard of Oz like lever that some asshole pulls in Europe, of course, probably Belgium, someplace in the basement of the UN, that will gut the American economy, put us on one world currency. It's this softball conspiracy theory that he's like, it's coming, it's going to be here any day now, it's coming, it's going to come, it's going to be here. That's what he does most of the time. So when, let's say, like the day we had today, like, let's see, like this, here's what Glenn Beck is afraid of is not that, we're turning into Nazi Germany. That's not really what he's afraid of. Let me show you what Glenn Beck is freaking out about, besides the weird spottiness of his face. This news today is what's flipping out Glenn Beck and his ilk. This is the panic attack that they're having. When on the right, why they're jumping on the social issues and everything's a nightmare scenario, Marxism, blah blah blah, is because Biden's in office and things are improving slowly but surely. Like the outlier, 5.4%, down 0.2%, down 0.3%, which is almost entirely in the black and Hispanic job market, which dropped in the black unemployment rate dropped by a whole point. And since we're talking about 13% of the population, that's a significant number for the black population, and it was so big that it actually made a dent in the entire, like a 0.3 dent in the entire country's unemployment rate. Non-farm payrolls rose by 943,000 in July, better than the 845,000 that the Dow estimated. Job gains came fast in leisure and hospitality because people are going back to work to do stuff, followed by education, professional, and business services as people gear up to go back to school and the like. The Delta variant might be messing with that, obviously, but, bit by bit, right? But July is just killing it. Average hourly earnings also increased more than expected, rising 0.4% for the month, and are up 4% for the same period a year ago, but that's, you got to weigh that against nothing. At a time when concerns were increasing about persistent inflationary pressures. The data for recent months suggests that the rising demand for labor associated with the recovery from the pandemic may have put upward pressure on wages, the BLS said in a report, though it cautioned that COVID impact is still skewing data and wage gains are uneven across industries, as you would expect, because they're trying to lure people back to hospitality jobs, whereas everybody else in the, in the managerial class, or in the salaried wage workers, or in places where the chance of upward mobility in a job is high, people are going back to work at the wage they had before. In shitty grind jobs, they're having to give more money to get people on board to those things so that they at least have a little money left over at the end of their month so that they can maybe put it towards their education or a side project that they're going to turn into a business one day. All that capitalist stuff that apparently Glenn Beck says that we're not going to have anymore. Markets reacted positively to the report. The Dow and S&P 500 hitting new record highs at the open Friday morning. It feels like a Goldilocks report. You have not too hot in terms of wages, but not too low in terms of job gains. That's adorable. The drop in the headline unemployment rate looked even stronger considering that the labor force participation rate ticked up to 61.7%, tied for the highest level since the pandemic hit in March 2020. A separate calculation that includes discouraged workers and those holding jobs part-time for economic reasons fell even further, 9.2 from 9.8 in June. Bink! There we go. This is not only was a strong jobs report by nearly every measure, it also signals this, and this is the part that scares the facial band-aids off of Glenn Beck. More good things to come, said Robert Frick, corporate economist at the Navy Federal Credit Union. Leisure and hospitality led gain in job creation, adding 380,000 positions, of which 53,000 came in bars and restaurants. Sector took the hardest hit during the pandemic, so stuff is coming back. You have to understand right now Glenn Beck looks the opposite of looks like the opposite of the economy right now. Yeah.
And yet every day it gets worse.
Yes, it does. You mean Glenn's face? Again, I hope he's fine.
For every single day. Who is it that came up with the 10 stages of genocide?
Edwin Black.
Edwin Black.
Yeah, I love me some Edwin Black. Who? No, I'm sorry. I was thinking Lewis Black. I think the 10 stages of genocide was one of his specials.
Good
wasn't
guy.
Yeah.
Brave.
Brave, good dude. I mean, as dudes who come up with, stages of genocide go, he's tops. I like the cut of his jib.
On this list, do you think? The first one, the first stage, classification. People are divided into us and them.
That's already done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these guys can't even be in the same frame together. Jesus.
Symbolization. People are forced to identify
Symbolization?
themselves. It's already done.
Already done.
So you mean like calling yourself a conservative? Or self-identifying as a conservative when you're talking about an article and you're reading an article that's about, the genocidal reaction to a vaccine, for example, just let people die, who cares? The Darwinistic, I would say, reaction to a vaccine availability and the like, and it says conservative in there, and you go, oh, that he means me. They mean me. You mean that kind of? All right.
Discrimination. People begin to face systemic discrimination. You can't go anywhere. You can't participate in society if you're not vaccinated.
Well, sure you can. You can just participate in your own backyard barbecues, I suppose. But if it's the question becomes, should people tolerate you as a member of society if you're willing to kill them because of your own beliefs? Again, your own religious beliefs are cool, whatever you want to believe in this country, as long as they basically stop at the end of your nose and only inform your morals and ethics so people can tell who you are. If you have to wear the symbols, and that's the only way people know what your religion is, you got a problem. So does your religion, by the way. But in the case of these guys, well,
that's happening. You can't go on Twitter if you're conservative,
and
that's happening.
Yes, you can. Ben Shapiro's on, Candace Owens is on, the Daily Wire is on, the Daily Caller is on. I think, are they the same thing? Are they the news and video part of each other? Are they the paper or the digital front? I don't give a shit. There's tons of conservatives on there. Yeah. Why are you staring at me? What the fuck? Who believes this shit?
You know what's crazy is it's not the conservatives that are the major group that are not getting vaccinated. That's just not true.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not true.
Right.
It is African Americans.
That is the perception, though.
But the perception is because the
Dude, African Americans are not 35% of the populace. They are the majority in Bronx or in Brooklyn. And only by a little. They're the majority of the Bronx and Brooklyn. They're the majority of the people not getting vaccinated, which is a very small number comparatively to the public at large. They're not. Oh God, fucking the math these assholes make me do.
government wants that perception.
Yes.
Why? Why does the government want that perception? Because conservatives, like the people that listen to Glenn's show, are more apt to not get vaccinated if they think they're in a group of like-minded people. So this is the 10th. This is stage 5 of genocide. the lemming effect.
Dehumanization is step number 4. People equated with animals, vermin, or diseases. You see that all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Oh, you mean like demon rats for Democrats? You mean like that? You mean like Hillary and Huma eating babies in the basement of a pizza parlor? Apparently the majority of Republicans, a slight majority of Republican Trump supporters. Anyways, that's a subgroup of a subgroup. Anyways, but a majority of them believing that Democrats are child sex traffickers.
All the time.
Organization. The government creates special groups to enforce the policies.
That
The government forms special groups to enforce the policies. No, to enforce the law. And if he says that's totally happening right now, no, it isn't, because there is no government vaccine mandate. Private companies are doing it, and they're making the decision themselves, including Fox News, which has a vaccine mandate at their office. They fire people if they show up and they haven't been vaccinated. They don't call the cops and have you removed.
is happening in the administration as we speak.
What? Oh, you mean cabinet positions? Oh my God. It's part of a great conspiracy, guys. Because they have, no, think about it. They have like a National Institute of Health, and there's somebody in the White House that runs that. And then there's this, like someone in the CDC, that they're always at the White House. And then there's like a working group on a bunch of different things. And then there's an infrastructure group that are working in coordination with the House Democrats and the House Senate to pass House Democrats and the Senate Democrats to pass a bill, and they're like, it's like a coordinator. They're basically brown shirts. Basically, it's brown shirts, right?
Right now, they're investigating white supremacy.
Right.
Well, yeah. As the single most dangerous domestic terror threat related to race and ethnicity. Don't worry, the Black Hebrew Israelites and the Moroccan kings, or whatever the hell they think they are, those folks are a close third.
I mean, they are also giving federal powers to the people like the Capitol Police.
Right.
The Capitol Police has now
Is a federal organization that governs federal sites, and they're working in conjunction with the FBI because they have surveillance video and pictures that have to do with the ongoing FBI investigations around different states. So they're sending people out to do that. All right.
an arm of Nancy Pelosi, and you cannot give a Freedom of Information Act request.
This, by the way, this storyline's been floating around. Dinesh was talking about this yesterday. So basically, if you bleach Dinesh, it burns his skin. Don't do it. You get Glenn.
On the Capitol Police, and they are now starting to open up new headquarters.
In Tampa, Florida.
In Tampa, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They have several cities.
Oh my God, they're taking over Los Angeles and Tampa? Okay. May I? Let's see. What do we look up? Capitol Police, Tampa. I know this doesn't interest Glenn, but it might interest you. Hi there. In a July 6th press release about changes the U.S. Capitol Police is making in the wake of the January 6th riot at the Capitol, the agency announced it is adding field offices in Tampa and San Francisco, not Los Angeles, whatever. Not that they matter, they're the same city. It's just liberals and gay people and overrun by homeless people who are armed and drunk. I don't know. Since then, some Republicans have criticized the move as federal overreach or partisan power play to target January 6th Capitol protesters. What in the hell is the Capitol Police doing setting up an office in Tampa, Florida? Matt Gaetz said recently at a rally in Largo, Florida on July 31st, part of his Florida Man Freedom Tour. I mean, They couldn't even protect the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and I'm a Florida man, so I'm an expert on this. There is no Capitol in Tampa, Florida. It's not even our state capital, so I'm increasingly concerned federal government, blah, blah, blah. Gates, of course, entitled to his opinion or whatever. It's a good idea for the Capitol Police to be opening field office outside of Washington, D.C., but we thought it would be helpful future Capitol Police. The announcement about the new field office came in a July 6th press release from the United States Capitol Police. The release after the attack, the future of the U.S. Capitol Police, outlined a series of steps the agency is taking since the January 6th riot to support our officers, enhance security around the Capitol complex, and pivot towards an intelligence-based protective agency. Among the steps, the release said the USCP is in the process of opening regional field offices in California and Florida, with additional regions in the near future to investigate threats to members of Congress. Tampa and San Francisco were chosen as the first field offices. The USCP spokesperson told us because there were two states are where we're talking a big bulk of the threats. The plan in Tampa is to open a small office, just a few people, to speed up the process and work with authorities in these states, as well as the prosecutors, to make sure these cases are properly investigated, the spokesperson said. So if, for example, someone made a threat against a member of Congress, an email or online post that is deemed a credible threat, the Capitol Police Field Office would assist the local investigation. The spokesperson said the Capitol Police plans to open the two field offices by the end of the summer and anticipates opening more field offices in other locations around the country in the future. Not surprising at all. I mean, this is how the Secret Service came to be out of the Treasury. The threat reached that level, and if you're going to ignore it, that means somebody else has to pick up the slack. If the Republicans in Congress and the Republicans in those states are going to actively ignore the threats towards other members of Congress in our representative government, then somebody's going to have to make up for it.
Selected. Why?
So that's stage 5. Stage 6.
Yes. An office in Tampa is stage 5 of the 10 stages of genocide.
Polarization. The government broadcasts propaganda to turn the populace against the group.
Done.
Well, no, because anti-vaxxers are not a permanent group. And you also can't spot them in a crowd. Although they can't go some places, they might be denied going into places. That's because they are willing to bring a disease into a place. Hence, these guys would both be against people who know they are HIV positive back in the day and intentionally giving other people HIV, being charged with murder. They'd be against that.
That's done to about the 10th power.
Yeah.
Then we
to the 10th power. Yeah. I mean, if Nazis vilifying Jews during right before World War II is the one stage of it, this is the 10th. This is times 10 that, because people who are not getting vaccinated are getting other people sick. Their own people, by the way.
to step 7, preparation. Official action to remove or relocate people begins.
That hasn't happened.
Well, it hasn't happened yet.
You sure? You sure? Yeah, I mean, because you look like you had to fight your way through a chain link fence, Glenn. So
we're between 6 and 7 now.
So what is?
Yeah, we're at on the 10 genocide scale. We're like at a 62% Rotten Tomatoes freshness scale.
Other 3.
Persecution, beginning of murders, theft of property, trial, massacres. Fortunately, that
I don't know. Isn't that already going on? By the way, you could just see that he actually thought that for a second. I don't know, man. I think they're rounding people up for. I mean, they attacked the Capitol and beat cops, but it's just did they really?
Hasn't happened.
I
Extermination.
think that one will happen before 7.
Extermination, wholesale
Yeah. Whoever came up with this list is an asshole.
elimination of the group. That
Yeah.
obviously not happened. And denial. The government denies it's committed any crimes.
Okay. Well, we got 2 out of the last 4.
Yeah.
Here's
So the government's denying that it has rounded up, murdered, and incinerated people, Glenn? The American government? I mean, at what point, why is this just not on RT at this point? Glenn, why don't you just move over to Russia Today at where the big bucks are? They'll give you a real spacey looking set. It can be that you can collect all 4. Maybe that one will be red.
here's the thing. I know Edwin Black, Edwin Black has been a longtime friend
And you, sir, are no Edwin Black.
of mine. He is one of the most, he's the bravest researcher I've ever seen.
The bravest researcher I've ever seen. Obviously, you have not watched any Vice documentaries about cannibal tribes.
He will take on the biggest of the big. He is Jewish. I think his parents many in his family were killed in the whole Holocaust. And it has been a lifelong goal to document who the real villains are, because it wasn't just Hitler. It was
Oh, boy.
companies like IBM, and it was a very well thought out.
By the way, every computer in Glenn's studio is an IBM-based computer. It might run on some form of Windows, but this is not a Mac run studio. This is all IBM PCs. Just so you know, just to clarify.
Plan.
Like those graphics in the background, all that stuff. Yeah, IBM technology. He's running that off of a PC. Guaranteed.
Very well documented, and he spent a lifetime documenting it. I did an hour podcast with Edwin Black. You should look it up on YouTube.
No, I'll pass. But I trust you that it's an hour long.
We went over those 10 steps, and each one of them went over, and I said, show me how this is happening. And he did. And he said, I said, so where are we on this list? Just the question.
Yeah, and he said between 6 and 7, but I should have put 7 before 6, but I'm an asshole. Thanks for pointing that out, Glenn. I mean, it's my life's work, and I've really looked into it, but if it wasn't for you, I'd have my whole list fucking backwards.
You asked me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we are a lifetime away from the Holocaust, or a day.
Oh, that's helpful. Okay, thanks, man. Big help. All right, well, then, fuck it. All right, everybody, let's just wrap it up. And, I mean, it's Friday. We'll cut it a little bit. We'll hit it hard on Monday. Because the genocide starts, the Holocaust starts tomorrow. Or 100 years from now. Or not at all. Or it already happened. Or we're already in the middle of it. Or, what, shit. In Australia...
And I said, what do you mean? And he
said, you don't know what I mean? You don't know what I mean? You're in the don't know what I mean group? If you don't understand, you're probably one of them. You're one of them, Glenn. Listen. Sorry. Okay.
We've already done all of the hard ones. We have just not.
Yeah, just the easy part is the rounding people up and incinerating them. The hard part is, getting people to fight with each other over social issues. That takes work. But building the showers and the ovens, I mean, like that.
Officially built a camp. We have not officially said we're going to round them up. But he said everything is laid. Everything is there.
The groundwork's completely done.
They're tracking you based on who you vote for, what you say, who you're talking.
Who's they? Corporations? I'm sorry. Are we talking about Nazi Inc. now? Who? What do you mean they? Holy shit.
So they know where to get you. They know where you are. They know who your family and your friends are.
Oh, he's talking about Facebook. I see.
That took the Germans a long time to do that. That's already done. He said, so we may never hit it, or they could begin tomorrow.
All right. So sleep tight. Have a nice nap. And if you wake up in a cold sweat with heart palpitations, you have Glenn Beck to thank. It may never happen, but it may be right around the corner. And that's because what we do is, and this is pretty simple, in our magic list of the 10 stages of genocide, the first 6 have already been taken care of by normal modern society. You could just, all you have to do is assign nefarious purposes to, things like the DMV. And what the Nazis could have done with I don't know, the voter ID laws. Right, Glenn? Jesus, this is so dumb. The left's pedophilia problem. But enough about the dehumanizing of folks, right? Far left's long-term plan to demonize white conservatives exposed. This has been planned. Do you see I see a theme happening here. And it's the kind of theme that happens when people try pot for the first time and are just not made for it. Yeah. Okay, so needless to say, Glenn Beck is a paranoid, and that's why I guess he had to get multiple cells on his face lanced. But again, this is, I think it's a perfect logo, is that Glenn Beck, the GB with the circle around it, because basically he's in a talking points hamster wheel. That's his show. Ugh. Yeah, who is they, right? No one can say who is they. Only them know who is they. I have to take a break from the seriousness, the 10 stages of genocide that are coming, to look at the 2 stages of morondom that's right here. Wow. Guys. Okay, guys. Wow, Ted Cruz smokes Biden on the border. Really? I would have thought he'd snorted him in Cancun. More par for the course. Hey, Don. So he smokes smoking Biden on the border. Biden's going to get smoked on the border. He's getting smoked. Here comes the smoking of Biden on the border. And again, hats off to Fiverr for these graphics.
Okay, guys, you gotta watch this video that Ted Cruz...
Okay, guys, I'm gonna play a video of something for you right now, guys. And guys, at the end of it, guys, okay, guys... Guys, at the end of it, stick around for my comments, which may or may not be there, because a lot of times I'm so coked out of my fucking brain that I will often play the clip and say I'll be right back, and then never return to my video, which, joke's on you, I've already got the ad rev. Guys.
Just put out. This is literally Ted Cruz talking about what's going on at the border, and Joe Biden releasing thousands of COVID.
Oh, this is the 7,000 over the course of the year, 1,500 coming to town, because the town that they're talking about put their COVID testing site for immigrants who've been, who have an asylum claim and have gotten a right to an asylum claim, by the way. And the idea is that you're supposed to picture in your head, and a lot of you probably did, when he said releasing, 7,000, illegal immigrants into this city with COVID. What you're supposed to picture is military-age males. That's what you're supposed to picture. And what you're supposed to picture is the Biden administration, a federal bus, driving into the middle of downtown and opening the doors, and them just walking outside going, "Donde está?" Like, I don't know where I am. What do we do now? Do we just sleep here on the streets? Like, that's what you're supposed to picture. And that's what Ted Cruz wants you to picture in your head. Now, the reality is, mostly women and children. Very small children. And their mothers. And the occasional grandmother with a child that she's taken someplace because the mom and the dad are dead or something like that. And they've gotten their asylum claims in, and they've given them a court date and all that kind of stuff. And they're actually going through a process where an NGO in another city or something will see them. But they have to get tested for COVID first. And this town that Ted Cruz is talking about and Don Jr. is talking about got their COVID testing federal money for these migrants, and they put it downtown. They didn't put it just outside the town. They didn't put it over by the facility or in some sort of like remote place. They put it downtown because the rent was cheap, I guess. And so all the people that are going to get tested before they're placed with an NGO that will put them with a family that will watch them or care for them, or with their family members who are already in the States who are sponsoring them until they can get their asylum hearing and that shit, they've got to get tested before they move there first. And this town put that testing center downtown in the middle of their city. Just to clarify, we looked this up yesterday. We dealt with it already. But Don Jr.'s late to the party, and obviously they go to the same barber, so they're going to hear the same stories.
Positive illegal immigrants into America. Okay? Think of how many people could be infected. Think of...
well, obviously we don't know they're positive until they're tested. And if this town had their shit together and was run like there's a tomorrow, instead of, like Republicans love to run places like they're renters and not mortgage holders in terms of city officials, they wouldn't have put their testing center for migrants anyways downtown. They would have taken those federal funds and had it outside of the downtown area. But I'm sure they released. Yeah.
Rules they tried imposing on you, on your family, on your children trying to go to school, on you trying to go to church on the weekends. Now you see
Yeah, most like from basically Friday night to Sunday night, you're at church.
places like New York
Just on the weekends.
instituting literally vaccine mandates. You can't be a part of society.
Well, sure you can. You just can't do it in public in certain places, restaurants, bars, places where people gather socially, where a contagious disease could spread in that variant. And in reality, not because the folks that go there haven't been vaccinated, majority of them, but because you could bring in the Delta variant, give it to somebody who would carry it home asymptomatically to children, and there's been a bunch of kids. But you don't give a fuck about kids.
If you're not vaccinated in New York City, that's what they're trying to do right now.
Right.
Okay? But 7,000 illegal immigrants in one town, McAllen, alone, over the last several months. 1,500
Over the last several months.
COVID positive in the last week.
Yeah, they were tested and discovered that way. They weren't just... And then what happened... work with me on this one. After they tested positive, then what? Was that when they were released into the town? Or were they delivered to the testing site, which is downtown, tested, and then when they tested positive, they were quarantined? Which is what happened. But and never mind. Don't tell me what happened. Tell me what you think happened. That's more important.
According to Senator Ted Cruz, released into society.
Released into society.
Imagine how many thousands of Americans could be infected. And then imagine the snowball effect. How many...
Yeah, why? I thought it was a pandemic and it's fake anyways.
more thousands get infected by those people. That's okay. Okay? Because they're illegal.
Well, no, it's not. That's why they're not. That's why they're not being just released after they're found to test positive.
Immigrants. They are actually a more protected class than actual law-abiding American citizens, according...
Well, no, I mean, none of them can go... Well, I mean, obviously, they're in McAllen, Texas, or whatever, so they don't have a, they are definitely freer if you're a COVID-positive illegal immigrant, you're freer than a New Yorker who's a citizen, or even, a Swedish student who's overstayed their visa and is here illegally, working at a bodega. Yeah, they have more rights there, but not because the administration or anybody wants them to have more rights, but because in McAllen they've decided not to run the city like a city.
The Biden administration, with this action, it would seem to me. This is insanity. Check out this clip.
We just had news breaking today that in the last several months, the Biden administration
How do you have breaking news about months? Sorry.
has released over 7,000 illegal aliens.
The Biden administration.
Who were COVID positive just in one Texas city, in the city of McAllen in the Rio Grande Valley. Last week, the Biden administration released over 1,500 illegal aliens in the McAllen.
The Customs and Border Patrol took those folks to the testing facility in McAllen, and they were tested and found positive. Now, what McAllen decides to do with their, let's see, COVID positive immigrants, McAllen, Texas, quarantine. Let's see if that brings us up anything. Ted? Who's society's more than okay. August 4th, 2021. Yesterday, the McAllen City Commission took decisive action to protect our public health and safety. Faced with the rapidly escalating surge of immigrants at the Texas-Mexico border, the City of McAllen's Emergency Management Office, Memo? What am I? You got me. In coordination with city management and in accordance with the mayor's declaration of local disaster executed August 2nd, no time like the present, months, apparently, 7,000 folks have been released into the public by the Biden administration. Never mind the fact that, we're still talking about January and December as well. But, took swift action 7 months later to begin its efforts to mitigate emergent health and safety risks. In response to these actions by an overwhelming majority, the McAllen City Commission ratified and gave further specific instructions to the Emergency Management Office and City Management, through the mayor's disaster declaration to request that Hidalgo County erect temporary emergency shelter on property in McAllen on 23rd Street for the overwhelming number of immigrants stranded in McAllen by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The City Commission also instructed city staff to demand relief from the federal government for the alarming number of immigrants that are being released into the city of McAllen. The Commission further instructed staff to assist local non-governmental organizations to swiftly expand. Now, is this something that the Texas government is supposed to be handling, and that's why the CBP does this? Or are they just dumping people because they want to make Biden look bad? Because the CBP are a very Trump-friendly crowd. That was what we always heard, right? No human is illegal. But you can be someplace illegally. Calm down. That is not dehumanizing. You can be an illegal immigrant. If I go to Mexico and I don't have, and I overstay my welcome, or if I go to China without a visa, I'm illegal. It's not a slight. It's fine. Like, don't get too caught up in the illegal immigrant part. If you immigrate illegally into any other country besides the United States, that's what they call you. In China, they refer to you as Waiguo Ren, even though if you're there legally, which means foreigner, means outsider, literally. You are not welcome here. In response to these actions by an overwhelming majority of McAllen's to ratify, the current immigration surge began in 2014 under the Obama administration and has continued for 7 years. So they're acting, this is lightning fast, to present to the present surge the community is now experiencing. So far in 2021, McAllen has seen well over 87,000 immigrants pass through its city limits. That's an odd word. Pass through. So they don't stay there permanently? The CBP moves them on to... Is there a staging facility that the CBP has in McAllen that, let me guess, a lot of people work there? In the town? So far, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported a historic increase in immigrant apprehensions. That's because of all the people who remained in Mexico and were never dealt with. So you got that, two years in one. For context, in 2020, the total number of Title 42 expulsions on the southwestern border was 381,928. To date, in 2021, in less time, a total of 566,000 Title 42 expulsions have occurred. Expulsions. So these are the people. So more people are being turned away at the southwestern border than were last year. So the Biden administration is deporting more people as Title 42 expulsions than the Trump administration did. Cool. Put a pin in that. While some immigrants are refused entry at the border under current Title 42 restrictions, many are temporarily lawfully admitted in the United States pending their asylum hearing. In these cases, the federal government only detains them for a couple of days, after which, absent the commission of a separate crime, neither law enforcement nor private entities have the legal authority to further detain them. As these temporarily admitted immigrants are released, the federal government does not test them for COVID-19 or provide assistance in contacting relatives or sponsors living in the United States to make arrangements for temporary housing. Due to this unacceptable flaw in the federal immigration system, which, by the way, would be solved by the comprehensive immigration bill that has been sitting and will be brought to the floor. My guess is either they'll try to push for debate on it before the Christmas holiday and then jumpstart it at the beginning of the year. That'd be my guess. Before the big influx that happens next year, why Republicans will want to push it to June so they can blame the influx of more immigrants, instead of solving the problem, on the Biden administration for the election next year. But we'll get to that. After which, and by the way, this has apparently been going on for 7 years. This is the methodology. Let's see. Due to the unacceptable flaw in the immigration center, Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley established a humanitarian respite center. The facility currently operates under a conditional use permit at 111th South 15th Street in a building owned by Catholic Charities of the RGV, the Rio Grande Valley. The respite center focuses its service on family units and has processed over 87,000 immigrants since mid-February 2021, providing them with essentials: clothing, food, showers, meals, basic medical care, and a safe place to rest. The respite center also assists immigrants in contacting their U.S. sponsor. Typically, this is what they mean by released into downtown. The CBP knows this Catholic respite center is there. If the people don't already have someone to contact, they're dropped off there. That place watches them. They stay there, but you're supposed to think they wander the streets, and then they get processed. For nearly 7 years, the respite center has had the capacity to process the flow of immigrants released in McAllen, keeping them off streets. However, in the last several weeks, due to the shockingly large number of immigrants released by CBP, the respite center's capacity became overwhelmed and threatened its ability to provide its humanitarian services to all in need. This significant change increases the threat of COVID spread or other lawlessness within the city. Threatened its ability to provide. So they're still there. So all these people are still staying there. It's just packed to the gills. At the beginning of July, they saw an average of 750 per day. That number over the course of a month escalated to 1,100 people per day, and so far in August has surged to 1,900 people per day. The respite center's capacity of only 12,036 occupants and will not allow more than its occupants at any given time. Therefore, beginning in August 2021, there's been significant threat of leaving hundreds on the streets of McAllen with no food, shelter, medical attention. It is at this point the McAllen mayor saw no option other than to declare a local state of emergency. They also have other facilities, not the only place there. To make matters worse, the 2020 global pandemic, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you get the point. Not released onto the street. The Catholic Charities has picked up that of the RGV, the Rio Grande Valley, and the city itself has its own secondary facilities. Between the two of them, there's just too many. So now they're passing an emergency declaration to build another temporary shelter. They'll get federal funds for that and a grant. And then after the surge is over, when they make up the number from last year that Trump just left there and didn't process anybody, then that facility will be a federal building that was built for McAllen to use for whatever they want.
Who were COVID positive. The McAllen mayor just reported on that today. And I got to say, that is unacceptable, and they keep doing it.
Well, they don't know until they're tested, and the McAllen testing facility is downtown.
And Joe Biden likes to talk about this pandemic. Well, I'll tell you what, the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris was a super spreader event because...
by the way, that they field tested that talking point, and they've been using that one around the kind of... It's not caught on because it's patently absurd and very silly, especially. But this is what they have to put in there to balance back against the idea that, look, we're not getting, in America, most people are vaccinated. 70% of people got at least one dose, and the rest of us that have decided not to get it because it makes you magnetic and it's got aluminum in it and it makes you infertile, and ivermectin horse paste, yum, apple flavor, works just as well. We should be protected. But then when they send these immigrants over with these Del Taco variants, I don't know what the heck. That's what they want you to think.
Our open border is endangering not just the people of Texas, but people all across the country.
So do you think that you are on the same or a lesser footing than a COVID-positive illegal immigrant?
I think I'm in a better position. Yeah, I have a house and I have insurance and I have my child is fed, and I'm not worried about the Catholic Charities having a bed for me, so I don't have to sleep on the street. And I mean, if I've tested positive, obviously I'm not in quarantine in a military type facility until such time as I guess it passes through my system or I die. But again, also, I guess I can get medical help if I do end up, God forbid, having to be on a respirator or those kind of things. Whereas I don't think they can. No, it is racist, by the way. Somebody was like, Del Taco variant? Am I the only person that finds it racist? I'm speaking as them, Baroness. That's what I'm saying. I was being a character that agrees with him. Do you understand verbal irony? See what I mean? That's what somebody who agrees with... All right, never mind. Like, honestly, do I have to put on a fake mustache or a Ted Cruz beard every time I say something an asshole would say? Yeah, satire. Do I have to put the... Hold on. Do I, like, is the... Let's see. Yeah. I'll have to... I have to put the satire button back on. I can't do it right now, because it'll... Yeah. Mustache will help. All right. Christ, man. Yeah, it's a Karen LaKaren thing. Of course it's racist. That's the point. This asshole thing... And this is... You have to understand who he's talking to also. Don Jr. is talking to his audience, whom he wants to be outraged. Of course I'm vaccinated. I'm fizzy in the hizzy. I've got the Pfizer vaccine. Both doses months ago. And the best thing about it is that I always know where my keys are because they just stick to my hand. Whenever I just put my hand out over my dresser and they just... It's great. Like, I can't even... this ring is metal. I couldn't take it off if I wanted to. I used to lose stuff. You just need a satire. That's good. I should just print out a paper sign. That's a great idea. Like my low-tech sound effects thing. You guys don't actually think those are recorded, do you? All right, here we go. Yeah, Pfizer is definitely magnetic, for sure.
Coming into America. Now remember, if you're a Cuban refugee... and you may not be pro-communism because you've been living it and getting shot at by your government, you can't come into America. But if you're a COVID-positive patient coming across the Mexican border...
Yeah, no, if you're Cuban or if you're COVID-negative even, and you're coming across the Mexican-American border, you're gonna hear the same message, which is don't come. That's what they've been saying to everyone. The Biden administration is currently... mulling over a ban on foreign travel if you haven't been vaccinated from everywhere.
No problem. We'll release you into society. Super spreader event be damned.
Well, no. I mean, they could obviously... They can't go... None of these folks would be able to go into unless they've been vaccinated and they have proof of it, which they very well may be at a certain point, if they're awaiting their asylum hearing. They're going to get vaccinated more than likely. I think a lot of them are actually going to, after 3 months of having had it, then they can get the vaccine. Everybody else who tests negative can get vaccinated right away. More than likely, they're getting Johnson & Johnson. We'd have to check the details on that. Let's see. That's actually a good thing. Thanks, Don Jr., for letting us say. Okay. Is the U.S. Vaccinating... immigrants? Well, not yet, obviously. The Trump administration. U.S. may offer COVID vaccines to migrants crossing from Mexico. The Biden administration is preparing to offer coronavirus vaccines to migrants in U.S. custody along the Mexico border. Under the broad outlines of the new plan, the Department of Homeland Security will vaccinate the migrants soon after they cross in the United States and await processing by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, said the Post, which cited two unnamed DHS officials. Until now, only a limited number of migrants have received the vaccine, while held in longer-term U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention. So they're just expanding it. The plan has not been finalized, Asked about the report, a DHS spokesperson said, "We continue to monitor and reassess our COVID-19 protocols. At this time, our protocols have not changed." Yeah, so they might expand it, but currently they're not.
Only law-abiding citizens, only law-abiding conservative middle-class people have.
Is that who isn't getting vaccinated? I thought, have you not been watching Glenn Beck? He says it's just black people.
Follow these rules, right? Because Obama can have his Martha's Vineyard big party for hundreds of people. The rules don't apply to those guys.
Well, I guarantee everybody there is vaccinated. Everybody.
Only you if you want to go to church or if you want to send your kids to school. It only...
Well, obviously, the people you're talking about that go to church are like Westboro Baptist crowd, and they don't send their kids to school. They homeschool them, which your dad apparently thinks makes you stupid. So
applies to you guys. So watch what's happening, folks. Watch what's happening.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Obama canceled the party because of the Delta variant. Because they set it up because they're like, hey, we're doing good. And then I think my guess is that the Republicans are allowing the Delta variant to pass all over the place simply so Obama couldn't have a party. Guys,
watch what they tried to do to you. They didn't care about your small business. They didn't care about your...
Yeah, they did. They didn't want your small business to kill off any of its customers.
Family. They didn't care about you making your mortgage. They didn't care...
Well, sure they did. They gave mortgage assistance. They just extended the eviction moratorium. Yeah, they did. All of those ideas were Democratic ideas last year.
About anything. If you're an illegal immigrant, no problem.
Yeah, if you're a legal immigrant, if you have, I don't know, I personally don't know any illegal immigrants, but they seem like lovely people. I mean, as illegal immigrants go. What was that again?
Mortgage. They didn't care about anything. If you're an illegal immigrant, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. If you're an illegal immigrant, it's not a problem.
Come in. In fact,
come on.
And get thousands of Americans sick. No problem. We're just going to let you into society. Let's see what happens. Well,
no, that's that apparently would be the McAllen City Council up to a certain point, but that's not happened yet. They have not. They have the material support they have. They're worried about going over capacity. Right.
Figure it out later. No problem. It's absolutely disgusting what's going on right now, folks. And I hope you guys are aware of it, and I hope you're watching.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, it's like what's happening right now is, I mean, just disgusting. It's grotesque. Like what the Biden administration is doing. Let's see. There's one thing that's really awful. What is happening under Biden is just, I mean, it's so gross. You know, either one. It's kind of amazing, just that it's hideous that these things are. Yeah, you get my point. Guys, now, granted, he's right about this part. This is gross. These two guys.
Hope you're spreading the message so other people see it. Because,
well, I am spreading the message so that other people see it. That you're a jackass, that you're talking out of your backside, which apparently looks something like this. And you're wrong about essentially all of this. But, you know, what choice do you have? If you don't make these videos, you don't think your dad's going to give you snort money if you don't put out a video, right, guys?
Unfortunately, no one else is going to do it.
Yes, that's totally true. By the way, we saw Tucker's face, so we have to kind of go there. I'm going to apologize right out of the gate. I guess the upside of Tucker doing his show staring into the sun is that he has to squint so much it stops his eyebrow furrow. By the way, this is, in case you don't know, this is Tucker Carlson. I don't know why the closed caption is on. There you go. This is Tucker Carlson live from Budapest. And to all our friends in Hungary, hoj voj, hoj mint. How's it going? Hi. one of the great loves of my life is Hungarian. She's a lovely woman, and her family still lives there. And for the record, before we even start this, let's enjoy this under the premise, and hopefully you're aware that Tucker Carlson's show, as it is in this country, could not exist in any form in Hungary. They would not allow him to go on nightly criticizing the government the way he is allowed to in the United States. Not at all. Just for the record. The only reason he's allowed to come over there and interview their leader is because he's using it to talk shit about our country, about America. If he went over there, they would have denied the interview if he was going over there to shit on Hungary's immigration policies and that kind of stuff. And the reason he is honestly the reason he is there is because they have one of the most draconian anti-immigrant stances, and they're like, it's gnarly. But that's why he's there. Okay, let's just be abundantly clear. But I want to see, yeah. This is called Hungarian Prime Minister hits back at Biden, calling him a thug on Tucker. Yeah, because if you haven't known, this is Biden and Tucker, and this is Biden. A thug. Tuckums is a good name for him. That's a good nickname, guys. I like it. That's a keeper. Let's see what Tuckums has to say. Tucker Carlson is our guest tonight on Tucker Carlson Tonight. Budapest up here in the corner. Are you sure you don't want to put a up in this corner, put like Tucker Carlson as well? So that people know.
I'm going to Tucker Carlson Tonight.
Oh, good. All right. I was confused for a second who you were.
Of the nearly 200 different countries on the face of the earth, precisely one of them has an elected leader who publicly identifies as a Western-style conservative.
Yeah, and if I was a Western-style conservative, that would offend me.
His name is Viktor Orban. He's the Prime Minister of Hungary. Hungary is a small country in the middle of Central Europe. It has no navy. It has no nuclear weapon.
Well, I'm shocked that a landlocked country doesn't have a giant navy. I mean, do you even military, bro?
Its GDP is smaller than New York State's. So you think leaders...
So, wait a minute. The New York State that's run by a Democrat, its biggest city is run by a Democrat, it's smaller than that? And the guy calls himself a Western conservative?
Washington would pay a lot of attention to Hungary.
Why?
They do, obsessively. By rejecting the tenets of neoliberalism, Viktor Orban has personally offended them and enraged them. What does Viktor Orban...
Really? Was I supposed to wake up enraged at Viktor Orban today? I missed it. I gotta remember to put it in the calendar.
...believe. Just a few years ago, his views would have seemed moderate and conventional.
Oh, I think what you're seeing right there... Hold on one second, guys.
He thinks...
Guys, I think there's a... Hold on. Whoops. Let's see. There we go. Oh, guess not. Oh, no. This is the wrong one. Sorry. I'm fixing something. Hold on. Sigbug. There we go. Whoops. I moved my screen around. 1 second. Why will you grab that thing? Grab it. Grab it. Okay, I don't know why it's being a jerk. That's a speck on the graphic. Sorry about that. That little white speck is, I'll fix it later. Sorry if it's distracting.
Families are more important than banks. He believes countries need borders. For saying these
Well, he's landlocked by a bunch of other European countries, so yeah.
things out loud, Orban has been vilified. Left-wing NGOs have denounced him as a fascist.
Well, that's not just because he thinks countries have borders. Is that the tie?
Destroyer of democracy. Last fall, Joe Biden suggested he's a totalitarian dictator. Official Washington despises
Biden, Hungary's Viktor Orban is a thug. Hits back at Biden calling him.
Viktor Orban so thoroughly that many, including neocons in and around the State Department, are backing the open anti-Semites who are running against him in next April's elections in Hungary. We've watched all of this from the United States, and we've wondered if what we've heard could be true.
Have we? Have we?
So this week, we came to Hungary to see for ourselves. We sat
did we?
down with Orban for a couple of long conversations, including one this morning.
Yeah, one we taped, and the other one is about the business I'm going to open in securities here after Rudy Giuliani goes to jail and somebody else has to pick that money up off the floor.
Moment, we'll show you some of that, and you can make up your own mind about it.
Okay, cool. I will not make up my mind about it until then, but I will make up my mind about the camera behind you and the fact that you might want to turn down the contrast. I'm just saying, time of day, it's not like you're in front of a window. You could probably go I'm just saying it's a little bright. This is all washed out. It's just low. I mean, your Fox, it should be better. I don't know.
But first, a word about Hungary.
Okay. Bozmag. That's the word about Hungary.
Even if you
Sorry, that's a swear word in Hungarian.
understand that the American news media lie, it is always bewildering to see the extent of their dishonesty. Nothing prepares you for it. We've read many times how repressive Hungary is.
Yeah, ask gypsies.
Freedom House, an NGO in Washington that's funded almost exclusively by the U.S. government, describes Hungary...
Wait a minute. Not the American government? Well, clearly they're up to no good.
...as much less free than South Africa, with fewer civil liberties. That's not just wrong, it's insane. In fact, if you live in the United States, it is bitter to see the contrast between, say, Budapest and New York City. Let's say you lived in a big American city and you decided...
It should come as no surprise that Tucker is 100% clamoring in his teeny little stone heart for a racially homogenous city to live in. Does anybody think that Budapest is as racially diverse as Manhattan, without even including the other boroughs?
...to loudly and publicly attack Joe Biden's policies. His policies on immigration or COVID or transgender athletes.
Yeah, it's we take our cues from
If you kept
Orban.
talking like that, you would likely be silenced by Joe Biden's allies in Silicon Valley.
How? How? I mean, there's tons of people talking about those conversations on all the major social media networks all the time. Oh, I see. Because you want to include racial and anti-gay epithets in what you're saying, and misogynistic ones. Let's not forget. So you can't conceptualize discussing those issues in any complex manner. You just want a giant mallet made out of racial slurs, and if you can't use those, then are you really free?
If you kept it up, you might very well have to hire armed bodyguards. That's...
Oh, yeah? By the way, he has armed bodyguards in Hungary right now.
...common in the U.S. Ask around. But it's unknown in Hungary.
You know who has to hire armed bodyguards? The squad.
Opposition figures here don't worry that they will be hurt for their opinions.
Yeah, they just don't even say them.
By the way, is the prime minister. Orban regularly drives himself with no security. So who's freer? In what country are you more likely to lose your job for disagreeing with the ruling class's orthodoxy? The answer is pretty obvious, though if you're an American, it is painful to admit it, as we have discovered. With that, here's Viktor Orban. His accent's pretty thick, but his English is precise. He's worth hearing.
You think? Okay, so his accent's pretty thick, his English is precise, and he's worth hearing. Worth hearing.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you for shining the table as well. I love the idea of a bookshelf that goes all the way to the floor, but you obviously couldn't see it because of the table, and this reflection gives us the illusion that we are magically appearing inside a bookshelf. It's very Harry Potter. It's a little awkward sitting directly across from you. Usually we would rake our seats so that we're sitting kind of at an angle, and this isn't your desk, so I don't know where... Oh, I see. It's a studio. This is a fake space. And there's no audience. Shiny table. Okay.
2015, hundreds of thousands of migrants appear on your southern border. They appear all over Europe. They stream into Germany. The rest of the EU says, welcome, please come. We can handle it. We're strong enough.
Hungary says, we're weak. We can't do it.
Stands alone in saying no.
And no, we're weak. We can't handle it. We are too weak.
Why? Why did you take a different position on
Because they're gypsies. I mean, not all of them are gypsies. Just their mother and fathers are gypsies. But they're not gypsies. We're not letting gypsies in the place, okay?
migration from other
We don't want the gypsies coming into the
European countries?
That was the only reasonable behavior. If somebody without getting any permission on behalf of the Hungarian state cross your border, you have to defend your country.
Yeah, and that's how you get your country full of gypsies, okay?
To say, guys, stop. And if you would like to cross or you would like to come, there's a legal procedure. We have to do it.
Yes, because someone, like, if you let gypsies come in, the first thing, you don't even realize, you're just getting, someone's making out with you, and all of a sudden you have a brown spot on your lip. And then what do you do?
Can't cross.
Oh my God, it's happened.
Without any kind of limitation and permission and any contribution and control of.
Gypsy is a slur. I literally am speaking in the way that Hungarians speak about gypsies. That's the point I'm trying to make. And it is not the same kind of slur. You want me to call them pikeys? That's how they refer to them. Literally, the conversation, it is a running gag in Hungarian circles. If you don't believe me, go to Toronto and ask some. That they go, I'm not a gypsy, but my mother and father are gypsies. That is the constant. Cool. I'm glad you have gypsy roots, Don. That's awesome. Have you dated Romanian yet? No, but it's on my bucket list. All right, I can't help you. It's not the same thing.
The Hungarian state, it's dangerous. You have to defend your people against any danger.
And you think you have a right to do
well, of course they have a right to. We do the same thing. We expel people all the time. You think you have a right to do that? What is the? I mean, this is so dumb.
that? Of course, it's coming from the God, the nature. So all arguments with us.
Yeah, like we just use magic lightning bolts from sky to zap Serbians who try to sneak in.
This is our country. This is our population. This is our history.
God has told us that this is our land, and if we want to take part of Poland, sure, why not?
This is our language, so we have to do that. Of course, if you are...
And by the way, notice he said this is our language. The Hungarian language is in danger of dying off. This has been a constant problem for them.
in trouble and there is nobody closer to you than the Hungarians, you have to be helpful. But you can't say simply that, okay, it's a nice country. I would like to come here and to live here because it's a nicer life. This is not a human right to come here. No way, because it's our land. It's a nation, it's a community, families, history, tradition, language.
saying what you just said.
Yes, it is a racially homogenous country. There is no comparison between Hungary and the United States of America. You know how? Because if you look on your 23andMe, Hungarian can show up. American doesn't.
I think will seem obvious to a lot of our viewers, was very offensive to a lot of countries in Western Europe, to their leaders.
Yeah, because many European countries decided to open a new chapter of their own history of the nation. They call it New Society, which is a
Very sketchy. Obviously, George Soros is involved somehow.
Christian post-national societies. They believe firmly that if different communities, even huge number of, let's say, Muslim communities, and the original inhabitant, let's say, Christian communities are mixed up, the outcome of this will be good. There is no answer whether it will be good or bad, but I think it's very risky. And the chance that it will be not good, but it will be very bad is obvious. And each nation has...
Yes, when Christians and Muslims hang out together in peace, it's especially on relatively neutral territory. There's no way that doesn't turn out bad. It's very risky because some days people might realize that I am an asshole.
The right to take this risk or to reject this risk. We Hungarians decided not to take that risk, to mix up our society. That's the reason why they attack Hungary so harshly, and that's the reason why my personal reputation is very bad. You know, I'm treated like the black sheep of the European Union personally, and sometimes Hungary as well, unfortunately.
So it has been 6 years since Angela Merkel made the decision to let many hundreds...
Yeah, and Germany doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know if you guys have seen the map, but it's now Germanistan, and it's almost completely controlled by the Taliban at this point. I mean, you can't even buy sausage on Earth anymore because Germany's not even allowed to exist.
Thousands of migrants into her country.
Millions, basically.
Millions.
Yeah, millions, thousands.
Non-German speakers, mostly Muslim. What have the effects been in Germany?
You know, diplomacy is...
requires
some well behavior, but it
You mean some honesty?
was their decision. They took the risk, and now they got what they have deserved. That's their life. I would not like to make any categories to describe what was the outcome of their decision. I only insist on that the Hungarians has the right to make our own choice.
You first became famous in the late 80s as a student, as one of the leaders against Soviet occupation of Hungary, and you were
Thanks,
a hero
Stacey.
to many in the United States, and at the time, during the Cold War, we paid close attention to Hungary. I think the U.S. government was on your side, you were on the side of the U.S. government. So 30 years later, Joe Biden, while running for president last year on ABC News, suggested that you were, and I'm quoting, a totalitarian thug.
You see what's happening in everything from Belarus to Poland to Hungary, and the rise of totalitarian regimes in the world, and as well as this president embraces all the thugs in the world.
Is that bewildering for you?
Well, yeah. Totalitarian regimes, he's qualifying him as being one of those, the rise of those kind of regimes. And then Trump embracing thugs in the world, mainly meaning Putin, Kim Jong-un, and the like. But this is another Tucker moment where he's like, he means you, right?
See the change, and how do you respond to that characterization?
So first of all, the reaction of that kind of opinion here in Hungary is always not very polite, but we think, who is that guy to say that? Then we say, okay, he is the president of the United States, so we should take it seriously. But anyway, somebody who does not speak our language has a very limited knowledge on Hungary, even in the recent several decades of our life.
Well, yeah, it's easy for somebody who only recently decided to give a shit about Hungary, like Tucker Carlson, for example, to come over and conflate what Biden was saying about your authoritarian regime and the way you're acting with what Biden's saying about, Putin and Kim Jong-un and folks like that, and the Saudis, obviously, and then to come over and go, you may not know how we speak or, our language very well, but he was really talking about you. You're the asshole here. Just, you're a thug. That's what he meant. Yeah. Just for the record. I mean, who would do that? Who would come over to your country and talk to you?
Don't understanding us, obviously. Having an opinion like that, it's by itself, it's a personal insult for all the Hungarians. But
no, it's specific to you. The argument always when you're criticizing the leader is the people can do better.
He is the president.
Because obviously, if he shits on, Putin or even Xi Jinping, for example, the premise is that the folks over there could do better than someone like yourself. Just saying.
Of United States, we have to be very modest. We have to be very respectful, and we have to make a lot of things to clarify that what he is doing is rather a fake. We try to do that in a polite way because we respect the Americans. We respect the American democracy, American culture. So we would not like to destroy our relationship because the bilateral relationship with the Americans is basically very good.
Yeah, basically.
We are cooperating well on the field of defense as NATO allies. Economic cooperation is excellent. You are big in...
Oh, That's weird. See, I would have thought Biden would have come in and shut you down, because what do you do with a thug?
Here, trade is going very well. Your businessman is finding a lot of possibilities here. So everything is fine, except the politics when the liberals are in government in Washington. That's the problem. So we have to manage that, because the American-Hungarian good relationship is a value, even if the Americans don't perceive today it as it was previously. So we have to save what we can save out of it.
But it's a little strange. I don't think Joe Biden is ever...
Yeah, I know you just tried to balance things out and, you know, recognize that the way you think isn't necessarily the way all Hungarians think, and you're trying to project that any insult that comes your way is onto the Hungarian people, and every benefit is that goes to the Hungarian people is obviously felt doubly by you. But can we just make this fight seem bigger than it is? I mean, I flew all this way.
Referred to Xi Jinping, for example, who has murdered many of his political opponents, famously, as a totalitarian thug. Why would he...
Well, yeah, he has.
And not just you, by the way, the Polish government as well.
The problem is the success. So it's a real challenge for the liberal thinkers, that what is going on in Central Europe, Poland and in Hungary as well. In Hungary, more outspoken probably. We are speaking probably too much anyway on our intentions. So what is going on here is building...
Are you guys ever going to play Connect Floor, or am I just watching this for no reason?
...up a society which is very successful.
Can someone bring in, I don't know, a monopoly board, something on the table?
Economically, politically, culturally, even in demography, we have some success, family policy. So what you can see here could be described as a success story. But
You're confusing Tucker, sir. He flew all this way. You're supposed to tell him that it's okay, that basically Biden is Putin and there's no difference, and that the sign that a country is failing is when you let brown people in. That's what you're supposed to tell him. Otherwise, he panics. You can't look at his face. He's very disappointed right now.
Fundamentals of this success are totally different than it is wished and run and created by many other Western countries.
Yes, Risk would be great. Although watching these two play Risk would be like, you know, watching two monkeys fight over a Rubik's Cube.
So the Western liberals cannot accept that inside the Western civilization there is a conservative national alternative which is more successful at the everyday life, at the level of than the liberal ones. That's the reason why they criticize us. They are fighting for themselves, not against us. But we are an example that somebody...
You're an example of a racially homogenous country, which is useless when talking about a complex society like the United States of America. Period. It wouldn't work if you went to China and asked them how you run a society. Wouldn't work if you went to any of the major countries in Africa and asked them how, because it's not the same operating mechanism. You're not dealing with the differences in that regard. You just aren't.
A country which is based on traditional values, on national identity, based on...
being Hungarian.
A tradition of Christianity could be successful, or sometimes even more successful than a leftist liberal government.
It's interesting as an American to see this. So the American media, the Biden administration, the State Department is opposed to you because they say that you're a totalitarian thug.
No, I mean, well...
Opponents are a coalition of former communists and anti-Semites. Is it strange to see the American left rooting for a coalition that includes anti-Semites?
Yeah, let's say if you would have asked me several years ago whether could it happen that the ex-communist political forces and the anti-Semite right is forming a coalition and running together at the election against a pro-Israeli and pro-American, pro-NATO, Western-oriented government as we are, my answer would have been no, it's impossible. But now the international communities accept it. You know. So I understand that here in Hungary, the political parties would like to get the power as soon as they can. Therefore, they try to make a broad coalition against the ruling government. Okay. But to be accepted that, you know, by the international community so easily, I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
Okay, hold on. Biden, Hungarian opposition party. Let's see. Okay, so this is the inside. Oh, hold on. Inside the Hungarian campaign to beat Viktor Orban, disparate alliances face formidable obstacles to unseat the veteran PM. For Hungary's opposition, next year's election is literally make or break. Polls suggest a disparate alliance of 6 parties has a real shot at ending the rule of Prime Minister Viktor Orban, the champion of illiberal democracy who has been in power since 2010. But the highly diverse nature of the alliance, from liberal millennials to small-town conservatives, is a double-edged sword. Oh, that's weird. Liberal millennials to small-town conservatives. What's with the small-town conservatives? When it comes to electoral math, only a broad opposition bloc can appeal to enough voters to take on Orban, but having such a broad coalition means tensions and rivalries are never far from the surface. Why? I think that, look, if one of them is anti-Semitic, they're all anti-Semitic, right? I mean, that's the point we're trying to make. Come on. If Orban wins another term, the highly strained relationship between Budapest and the EU mainstream will be tested even further. Orban has already parted ways with the European People's Party center-right alliance. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte even suggested last month that it might be time for Hungary to leave the EU itself. Defeat for Orban led by the anti-Orban opposition in Hungary is a product of despair, said philosopher Gaspar M. Tomas, a communist-era dissident who later served as a member of Hungary's parliament. From woke identity politics to sexist, racist, deeply reactionary talk, everything can be found within the opposition. There you go. From woke identity politics to sexist, racist, deeply reactionary talk, everything can be found with this opposition. Basically, there's 7 parties and Orban runs the biggest one. Good Lord. But the idea is that because you don't like Orban, you're rooting for one of these small groups, which is, by the way, one of the conservative right-wing groups within the opposition that apparently is anti-Semitic. Previous failures to beat Orban drive the 6 parties to take the unprecedented step of joining forces. In late 2020, they are expected to nominate a joint candidate for prime minister in a 2-round primary election this fall. In interviews with Politico, all 6 politicians are running for the nomination voiced confidence it's possible to win, but many also spoke of huge internal and external challenges they face to defeat Orban, one of Europe's longest-serving prime ministers. That internally, the far right, internally the inclusion of a party with far-right and anti-Semitic baggage in the coalition possesses an awkward challenge for the more liberal groups. Divisions over Hungary's controversial anti-LGBTQ+ law have surfaced lately, and primary races to select joint candidates in electoral districts are fueling competition among the opposition parties. You think? Externally, the challenge includes attacks from the government's propaganda machine and obstacles getting the opposition... Oh, really? They have a propaganda machine? Why would they have what do they need one of those for? Why would they need a propaganda... Oh! Why would they need a propaganda group? If they get... Why would they... That's... I see. In case you don't have a... All right. Opposition leaders are pinning their hopes on voters being concerned, above all, about the state of democracy in Hungary, which has been accused by EU institutions of putting the bloc's core values at risk. A type of opposition voter has emerged for whom it is not important if right-wing or left-wing. It is not important if liberal or social democrat, but it is important to be a Democrat, says Klara Dobrev, a vice president of the European Parliament with left-liberal Democratic coalition candidate for and the left-liberal Democratic coalition's candidate for prime minister, who apparently is fine teaming up with right-wing anti-Semites. Fucking hell. All right. Tucker's still confused.
Especially the behavior in America is totally new experience for me.
It does seem like Hungary is moving in a completely different direction from the rest of the continent, from the rest of the Western world.
Yeah, because they have a division of 6 governmental groups, 6 parties essentially, and one of them, which represents a minority thought and is anti-democratic, is running the place. And it isn't watch this. I got news for you, and this is probably the part that will shock Tucker, is that even if they shift to a more democratic and more, left-leaning group, the immigration policy ain't going to change all that much.
I mean, do you think that 20 years from now, that will be an unbridgeable divide? I mean, where does that lead?
Let's describe how I see it. What I see that in the Central European countries, the countries suffered the most because of the Soviet occupation and communist dictatorship. So in these countries, my approach, or the Hungarian approach, is very popular. Probably we have a majority in all of that societies, not only in Poland and Hungary. They are more moderate. I mean, the others are more moderate, but if you understand what they are doing, what are the fundamentals and their motivations, is basically belonging to the same political family anyway.
Yes, because like people who've been in abusive relationships are less apt to be laissez-faire in their dating, for example, than people who haven't been. They haven't experienced abuse or toxic relationships. And all of these countries have, in dealing with the Soviet Union specifically, were under a thumb that was horrifying for a very long time. It's sort of the same way the Germans are about who can be in leadership.
On the Western society, there is a lot of people, millions and millions of people, who disagree the direction of the policy taken at this moment, which is against the family or not respecting the families, which is more based on migration, which is more open society, which is more welfare, and so on and so on. So I don't say that the political competition is over in the Western European societies. So I see chances, and the key country is Italy at this moment, where the fight and the competition is very open. So I can see chances in the Western countries also that they are able to change their policy from liberal to conservative, or from liberal to...
So over the last decade and a half especially, there was an overcorrection, and now it's moving back. Like, I'd love to make this, bigger than it is. But that's exactly what he's talking about. That Italy and Germany overcorrected. Now they're balancing back the other direction a little bit. This is honest to God.
Christian Democrats, the chance is there, but we are not internationally well organized. So the forthcoming years are really exciting.
I've noticed in the last few nights in Budapest, I've run into a number of Americans who have come here because they want to be around
white people
who agree with them, who agree with you. Do you see Budapest as a kind of capital of this kind of thinking?
The capital of that kind of thinking, or one of the capitals, because the other Central European countries are also very competitive and producing very nice ideas and organizing that kind of communities of conservative and Christian Democrats thinkers as we do. We cooperate with that countries, so that kind of networks are getting closer to each other. It's getting more and more a real Central European network.
Well, you have to. That's your route to the water. You can go all the way north. Look at that picture, by the way. Look at this. They could go to the Black Sea, but it means going through Slovenia and territory that is full of a lot more Muslims. So they go north into the water up there. That's how it's a shipping and trade route organization. Jesus Christ. Who doesn't?
To each other. It's getting more and more a real Central European network. But not only thinkers. Ordinary citizens, average citizens are moving to Central European countries. It's not too dynamic at this moment, but the signs are clear. Many Christian families and conservative families who think that Western Europe is not secure enough, the future is unstable, the public security is not provided, and the ideological direction of the countries, or the basic values of the countries built on, is changing not to their taste.
Yeah, everyone is moving here because it's safer and less diverse, and so we feel safer here. I mean, if you look at the numbers, it doesn't look like that, but trust me, it is.
Their intention, they are looking for other places. So if you go to the Hungarian countryside, you can find West European families who move to Hungary. First to have the second house, because inside European Union we have a free movement. So first to have second house and then spending more and more time here. So we can't exclude...
Wait, what? You watch your language, young man.
The future of the European history when there will be a new migration from west to the east.
Within Europe.
The Christians and the conservatives try to find a better home. We can't...
It's basically, they're just trying to make a suburb. Hungary wants to be the suburb of Germany.
So up until very recently, Hungary...
Why is he wearing a magenta tie? I'm going to guess to show solidarity with the right wing in America, but also not too hot.
It was a small nation, 10 million people, had two big nuclear-armed allies, the United States and Israel. You were probably Netanyahu's closest ally in Europe. You were close to Donald Trump. Both of them are gone. Where does that leave you?
We are not very much fortunate in the recent years, because Donald Trump was a great friend of Hungary. He was very much supportive to us.
He told me how to wear makeup. I was looking at him and I'm like, wow, how do you get the line so sharp halfway through your cheek? Do you have a woman who help you do this? Perhaps she works as a carny or makeup for a bearded man in the, traveling state fair, perhaps. How do you get it done? Because here I'm sitting over here, look slightly splotchy and green.
Not just personally, but politically also. So there was a good
hype train
between the two countries also.
Where are you from again?
First America first, is a very positive message here in Central Europe. Because it means if for Donald Trump, America first, for us, Hungary could be first as well. And let's cooperate on that basis.
Right.
So that was a very good foreign policy, very effective, and we cooperate.
Yeah, but it wasn't America first as far as, caring for America first. It was America first on the chopping block. America first for sale. Like, well, I got America here. You want a slice of that, or... Whoops.
It very well. The same with Bibi, with Netanyahu, who is a good friend of the Hungarians, and when he was in power, he always invested a lot of energy to have a...
I got a good idea. Why don't you and Trump and Bibi get together, build a casino, something you know a lot about, and just see how it works out. You know what I mean? Everybody will follow your lead. You don't have to be in a government job. What kind of freeloader are you?
Relation with the Central European countries, we respect it very much. But he lost also. So that the Hungarian conservative Christian, Judeo-Christian democratic thinking lost to major international supporter. And the opponents came into power. So this is a totally new circumstance around Hungary. For me as a politician, it's a strong challenge, how to handle it.
It's very hard to challenge. Luckily, I'm Prime Minister of Hungary, and all I do is one phone call, and Tucker Carlson comes over here as a guest of our propaganda ministry.
An election coming up in April.
Hype train. Don't forget, all today's super chats go to our dear beloved Can't Stop Lying because it's his birthday. Again, wishing him happy birthday today. Sorry to do it with Tucker Carlson's face on the screen. That's the only downside.
Are you worried that there will be international interference in your election?
Yeah. Mike Lindell's going to be over there. He's coming over. He's going to help you guys out.
In Hungary.
That will happen. We are not worried of that. We are prepared for that. Obviously, the international left will do everything what they can do, probably even more, to change the government.
How can they do more than they can do?
Here in Hungary. We are aware of that, and we are prepared for that, how to take the fight and fight back.
Oh, the CNN clip was hilarious. I want the whole interview, though, because it was pretty cut up.
When the President of the United States describes you as a totalitarian thug, which is a very serious thing to say about somebody, I would note. I mean, that suggests that, why wouldn't the Biden State Department work to prevent you from being reelected?
I think sooner or later the Americans will realize that issues in Hungary must be decided by the Hungarians. And it's better even for the...
We do already. We just don't kiss your ass.
Leftist liberal government in the United States to...
We don't like the woke. There's too much woke. Next thing you know, you're sitting in a library full of books you don't read with some sort of spiral staircase like some French fop built it in here or whatever on a rug that wasn't even sewn by Hungarian hands. And then with, oh my God.
A good partner, which is a conservative Christian democratic, supported long-term by the people, Hungarian people. It's better to have that than a government which is...
By the way, I don't know if you know this, but fine Hungarian shellac, no fingerprints. We've been tapping on this fucking thing all during this interview and no fingerprints. I'm just saying, act now.
Supported by America and take the position, but losing after several months.
Yeah, ask him if he's a thug again. How does he feel about Biden? Yeah, but Biden called you a thug. Can you give me a soundbite? I mean, it's hard enough for my audience. You gotta understand. As much as they love your racially homogenous white country, they hate accents. I'm really over a barrel here. Can I ask you about the thug question again? And then you just say something like, fuck him, and bang your shoe on the table? I need video. I'm in a ratings hole right now. I had to make up a story about the NSA looking into me. Notice I haven't talked about that shit in weeks, because that fell apart. Help!
Creating destabilization and uncertainty. So, not loved, but stable partner is better than the uncertain new one. That I hope the Americans will understand that.
Why are you, again, welcome back to another episode of Why Is This Asshole Smiling?
No wonder they don't want you to hear what he says.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry, are we supposed to translate what he says in Hungarian into English? Why is the Hungarian government any of our concern?
You don't have to watch your country collapse. You don't.
But you know what you have to do is turn on your lav mic. Because right now you're just going off the one on top of the camera and it's a little fuzzy.
Have to have leaders who hate the population or divide their own people against each other, who make the country worse, who open the borders, who...
Yeah, but there aren't any others in this country. If you're going to make this case, go to a country that has others in it. It's us against, us against them. It's very difficult in our country when the us is the Hungarians and the them is the Hungarians. Honestly, we just stay home and punch ourselves in the face. It's like when the Soviets controlled everything.
Increase crime, who encourage people to live on the sidewalk and do drugs.
Is that what we're doing? Yes, the great American push to get people to live on the sidewalk and do drugs.
If there's any lesson of talking to Viktor Orban, maybe it's that. The conversation went on for quite some time. One thing...
Why'd you edit out the other stuff? You just didn't put in the stuff that... Did he ever react to that side?
You learned, man, the efforts to unseat him intense and stealthy. We'll have a lot more on that.
They're so stealthy, even he doesn't know what they are.
On Tucker Carlson.
It's this insidious don't give a shit strategy of the Biden administration.
Original.
It's called Operation Bigger Fish to Fry.
Making that documentary now. Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Oh, God. Look, it was bad enough we had to look at Tucker's face. We got to look at yours, too. By the way, you guys asked for it. Here it is. This is short, and I know I've gone longer, but I started late, so you'll just have to go through it with me. Mike Lindell talking about his CNN interview. Now, the CNN interview, in case you haven't seen it, I recommend looking at it. If they ever post the whole thing, I'll go through it. I'm sure if I try to post any of it, I'll get a copyright hit because it's really chopped up and there's a lot of shit in it. And he is tweaking like crazy during the whole thing. And I think we'll see. This might be right afterwards.
They didn't. That little manufacturing company's too precious. Don't need CNN sliming around there.
Yeah, you know what? And I sat down with them 2.5 hours. You are correct. It's supposed to be a 15-minute, half-hour interview, but
it's supposed to be a 15-minute, half-hour interview. Those are the worst because they seem to drag and breeze by. It's very odd.
We kept going round and round because they kept lying and kept trying to twist things. But let's give them credit. At least they're one step above Fox because Fox don't even talk. Let's not forget that.
Doesn't even talk about you. They talk. Yeah, they do.
I'm still upset with them that they're not out there talking about this.
It's true. It's true. Please shit on them some more. Yeah, Fox, bad Fox. Absolutely. Go for it. I'm sorry to interrupt.
This fraudulent election and this crime against our country. But, what CNN got, but it gave to everyone in the country was just kind of like a prelude or a little advertisement for the symposium. Hey,
yeah, it's just like an advertisement. Imagine if, let's say you were going to, someone's inviting you to a band performance, so there's a concert happening, and they go, hey, take a listen to some of our songs, and you'll hear that live at the thing. Even better. These are even better. These are just the demos. And you show up at the real concert, it's gonna rock. And then you put the disc into your CD player, your compact disc player, and it's a dial tone with a guy reading from his diary over it. Not saying it's not music. I'm just saying it's not the kind of thing you go to a concert for. What are you advertising?
You're going to see 37 terabytes of data. Here's just a piece. Go ahead and look at them. You're going to see.
Yeah, you might want to. I'm just saying, if you're going to tease someone with some of what you're going to see, at least one line of it should be enticing to go, ooh, more of that, please.
They're from the 2020 election, and there's timestamps in there that are within the code. Well, they didn't deny that. Their experts looked at it and said, these aren't PCAPs. Who said they were PCAPs? You're going to come to the symposium and see all that, CNN. Then they tried to twist and go,
wait, what? You said they were from the packet captures. And that's not what they said. Fuck, now I got to pull up this. This is how it gets started, and then we get all mad, and you're making me mad, and then I got to do this. Hold on. I think it's the, Raw Story had it up. I'm pretty sure. So, what he's talking about, yeah. This is, we'll look at part of this, because we have to. There you go. And it's going to play an ad of this thing. And they'll pay an ad first. There we go. A little pasta. Look at that. We'll just let you have it a little bit. Let's scroll this down here and go. There you go. That's a little better. And a little broccoli. That'd be nice. I'd like a little broccoli. Sure. Why not? Oops. Get on with it. Yes, we got it. It's Hello Fresh. Super. Look at that. Shrimp, and it's delicious. I'm getting hungry. Yes, I know. But all this talk about hungry is making me hungry. I just turned. Okay, here we go. So this is. They jump ahead. Let's see if we jump ahead to this nonsense. There he is. So this is them interviewing him, and by the way,
Lindell is not back.
The My Pillow guy.
Mike Lindell, yes, the My Pillow guy is convinced China hacked the election. Donald Trump.
By the way, we've talked about all this stuff, and all the stuff I've said about his BS packet captures and how they don't prove anything and yada yada, and how he's basically fallen for a software demo with that weird missile command bullshit that we looked at in his movies, his docu movies, is whatever the hell. All of that stuff, we've talked about this. You guys are already way ahead of apparently most CNN viewers. You're welcome.
Really won, and Lindell has the absolute proof.
They did it in all the states, every single state.
They changed the votes.
Every single state.
And you have the proof.
Yes. The packet
that will
capture.
show
I have the whole data.
The actual exchange of votes.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
It is, of course, complete.
By the way, just in case you were under the false assumption that Trump actually won Florida and Texas and Ohio and Kentucky and Idaho and Wyoming and other states, you're wrong. Those are the ones that Biden won. Trump really won California and Vermont and New York.
Since, despite every piece of
by the way, I miss Missile Command desperately.
Evidence Lindell has presented so far, 3 videos, a lawsuit, screenshots he sent to CNN. There's still no proof that the election was hacked, and that's according to 24 cyber experts and election officials contacted by CNN.
100%.
So this is, he sent them, see these little, still frames? He sent them 6 of those. They're like, oh yeah? You think I'm full of shit? Check these out.
Evidence.
When Lindell released his so-called evidence in videos like this, fact checkers quickly found
which viewers of this show have seen all the way through.
Out it was evidence of nothing. These images are just publicly available voter data. Scrolling across the...
Hal, do you think Lindell is stupid or lying? I think he's stupid. And I think he's defensive about it in a way that shows me that he's aware that he's stupid. He fears his own stupidity.
Screen, not proof of election hacking. So Lindell changed his story, saying now the real...
Oh, wait. It was a 2-hour interview, according to him. I want to see the whole thing. CNN, release the whole thing.
Evidence will be revealed at a cyber symposium, streamed live with MyPillow discounts available throughout. And as further proof, he sent CNN a preview, 6 different screenshots.
You sent us this on Friday.
Yeah.
What is this?
That's just one piece of 1.2 billion lines of data from the election. Okay, within that will be timestamps of when it happened. There'll be flips in there.
So we sent this to our own experts. He said that it doesn't show any specific actions of any kind, election related or not, and it's proof of nothing.
Okay.
This is all of these are from the metadata of an Instagram model, Lorelei 69, and we enjoyed checking the pictures out, but Mike, it's who do you follow?
So he said that's nothing, huh?
I don't know that there's a Lorelei 69. I just made that up in my head. Sorry.
Well, he's wrong. Then you didn't hire a cyber expert.
We didn't consult just one cyber expert. We consulted 9
Harry,
top
Alex,
election
Richard,
security
Dan,
experts who
David,
told us Lindell's
Barbara.
screenshots were extremely rudimentary metadata and completely ridiculous.
I think those are both direct quotes from when I did Mike Lindell's absolute proof.
We also reached all 15 officials from the 15 counties where Lindell said,
yeah, but those are Republicans and they can't be trusted.
Without any proof, votes were hacked and switched. Lindell mentions some of the counties in his videos and lists them out in his counter lawsuit against Dominion Voting. They are counties that use paper ballots counted by systems not connected to the internet.
Yeah, that is a snag in the theory. I agree.
One of them told CNN there is no evidence they were hacked by anyone.
You identified 15 counties where the votes were switched. We contacted all 15 counties, red and blue.
Good for you.
And blue.
That doesn't matter.
And we couldn't find a single person that said this is even possible. They say, are you mistaken?
Right.
They think you're wrong.
Right.
The bottom line is they have paper ballot backups that prove that they were not.
So you guys went and they let you audit there? They let you do a full audit, CNN? You guys did a full audit on 15 counties, huh?
We did what Lindell did not do. We went to Delta County.
By the way, they go to all these things. So I want to hear what, and he loses his shit at the end of this one. Let's see, where is it? Is it here? Because they go through and they talk. Yeah, here it is. This is, he's not having it.
Collected and tabulated in this country.
Okay, you know what? I do. But what you don't understand is they can get, after they're tabulated, they can get hacked after the fact, which they were, because Donald Trump was going to win anyway. Donald Trump was going to win anyway.
The paper ballots
you
which
didn't
were
do an
cast
audit to match them up, though.
Were audited against the machine
No, they weren't.
count.
No, they weren't.
In these counties,
no,
they
they
weren't.
weren't. No,
No, they weren't. Yes, they were. No, they weren't. This is an argument. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. An argument isn't just contradiction. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Contradiction is just the automatic gainsaying of anything the other person says. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Oh, this is boring. No, it isn't. Shh.
they weren't. Who told you that?
The county officials.
Oh,
who
did they tell
it.
you that? Well, they're going to have some answering to do.
No matter who says there was no widespread.
God, I mean, we've done the whole thing, so it's not surprising. I don't want to see even more of that. I want to see the whole thing. CNN, please post the entirety, because I want to see. This went on for 2 hours. Fucking hell.
To absolute proof and pull stuff out back then.
Okay.
On absolute proof on February 5th. Yeah, go ahead.
I got it, but what you did show them, what did you actually show them? Because whatever you showed them, they didn't salute on that either. So let's leave aside whether it's PCAPs or not PCAPs. You actually you showed them a little ankle, right? And they said.
Yeah, that's a great description of it. You showed him a little ankle.
What you showed him is okay. So why did they dismiss what you showed them?
I know. Because it's bullshit, and he doesn't even understand what he showed them. It's like if you were intended to show someone ankle, and you showed them ankle, but it was from a dead dog you found on the side of the road. You're just like, huh? Sexy, right? Yeah, it was a roadkill deer. Just, huh? Ankle?
Tried to tie in from absolute proof, which I didn't show in the evidence. This evidence was brand new. Showed it to him. This is the first time it's ever been shown, and I gave it to the world and CNN. And then they just said that, oh, this is nothing. They just minimized it.
No, they looked at it and literally said, this is nothing. They didn't minimize anything. It was minimal itself.
They wanted to get out instead of trying to, I don't know what they're trying to discredit before like I said to them, come to the symposium and make $5 million. I said, what are you guys doing here? Well, we're worried about you, Mike. You're coming.
No, they didn't say they were worried about you. Again, fucking hell. What did he just say? We're worried about you, Mike. That's what he said. That's what he said they said. Understand that this is crucial to understanding the shit in this asshole's ears.
Fraud in the election, whether it's local election officials, secretaries of state, judges, or even Donald Trump's own same. They are all wrong.
All these county officials are lying?
I don't know. They might be misconstrued. We'll say misconstrued because they don't realize what happened.
Lindell says his information comes from multiple sources, all of them super secret. He claims he's spent millions on the project and also claims he will give $5 million to...
Also, by the way, if you'll notice, we are getting near the tail end of this idiocy because he started talking about the money. This is the same thing that happens with Trump, too. Once they start talking about how much money they have spent, they're starting to feel the pinch of it. It's not paying off. This is something as businessmen they've dealt with in the past that, I'm dumping money on these ads on this one particular network and I'm not seeing any returns. We're not getting anything out of these ads. Like, that's something that's normal to them. And it's taken a little bit longer with this one. But he started bitching about the money about, what, a month ago, guys? Yeah. He never even mentioned it before. Now he's like, I spent $1 million. I'm spending like $150,000 a week doing blah, blah. Like, that all comes from the fact that it's not going anywhere and he knows it.
Anyone who proves him wrong.
Mike, you can make up anything.
Who can? No, you can't. This is where.
This is just going to have a demonstration.
No. This is where you're wrong. We're giving it to We're giving it to the cyber people that show up. We're going to give them each state. Here's a state, Georgia. They can take it apart.
You could possibly be the victim of a scam here.
Well, then why don't you come to the symposium and make $5 million? Are you worried about me? We should give a hug. You're worried about, Mike? Oh, God bless you.
Here's what we're worried about. We're worried that what you are doing is mistakenly or deliberately destroying the confidence in the legitimate elected president of the United States and fostering what could be real damage to this.
By the way, so that's, if you'll notice, he was the one who said they're worried about Mike. They said we're worried about the election. We're worried about, you disparaging a duly elected president.
He might get attacked, because if you're wrong, boy, you're going to ruin your reputation. I remember when he said that, I'm going, what are you talking about? I said, I put it all on the line. I don't put up $5 million. Some of these hit jobs yesterday said, on a last-ditch effort, Mike Lindell puts up $5 million prize if you can prove him wrong. That's what do you mean a last-ditch effort? That's to tell people like CNN, come to the symposium. Quit saying that Mike Lindell hasn't shown anything. Mike Lindell hasn't shown anything. That's why we're having the symposium. And now, you know what we're going to do now, Steve? We've added another column. We're going to run everything where people can actually read the outcome on one screen, county by county by county, whatever, and then over
whatever.
Here, have the whole election run with the data that we can't read. That somebody at home can freeze it, pull it in there.
Yeah, they're just going to run the data visually. Why just post it when people could pull it down themselves, when he can run it on his network on screen and people can, take screen caps?
Let me just ask for your supporters, because your supporters are legion, obviously.
Overwhelming number. I mean, he's got at least 50% of the people hosting the show on their phone, ignoring the entire thing.
One of the most important, political figures in the world right now, on the world stage. And I know that.
No, not at all.
Upset CNN and Jeff Zucker terribly. I think the first time you've been on Anderson Cooper since Oleander, the 22-minute, they didn't even go to commercial break. One of the they teach that in the first year of Columbia Journalism School, right?
Yes, if someone is going on promoting an untested medical treatment for a deadly disease, you don't leave them on the air. That's fairly early, and I don't know what class that is. I didn't go to journalism camp.
First time I think you've been back on Anderson Cooper in an interview format with another guy was last night. I think that's the first time. And so they're not doing that to support Mike Lindell. What they're trying to do is set you up for an epic fail. They want to.
No, that's what he's doing. He doesn't need any help from them.
Want to destroy you, destroy this movement, and most particularly.
No, they're watching it be destroyed, and they recognize that he's trying to take down democracy with him, and he might, along the way, inspire some asshole to kill someone.
Of all the stuff they see, because now they see
his supporters are Lego.
Jeffrey Clark's email or the memo, they understand how all these states connect together because they were all stolen in kind of a difference in degree, but not in kind, right? With the ground game guys, right? Not the machine guys. You're the machine guy. But they and also they.
Well, how did if the machine guys and the ground game guys weren't coordinating, then how the fuck did the numbers actually work out? If you have two separate camps throwing an election, even if they're working for the same client, even if they're trying to help, but they're trying to get, let's just say, I don't know, the incumbent, and he's paid some people to hack the elections, but he also has sycophants on the ground that are trying to help him, and they're looking at the numbers going, oh no, he's losing. We got to print ballots and throw them in there. And then these people are hacking the numbers. They will never fucking line up. How in the world does that help? It's just bizarre.
They all kowtow to the Chinese Communist Party.
Okay.
The Washington Times has a brilliant piece today that backs up Mike Lindell. The Chinese Communist Party have enough data and information on every American to have a dossier. Not like a
Well, yeah, but only if you're on TikTok.
Page, a dossier on you. Remember, they hacked in and stole the personnel department of the U.S. government. I mean, what they did at Sony, it's just amazing. But
so why do they even need to throw the election? Why can't they just singularly target you with manipulation data and psychologically shift you in a direction that will make you vote the way they want you to vote? Oh my God.
What these guys are trying to do is to give your supporters and your fans another level of comfort. What are you doing now to make sure that you don't show up and these guys are there and they can blow you up? And forget the $5 million. $5 million is not important. Obviously,
it's a little important.
Companies on the line, but more importantly, what we're doing in trying on the air game. It doesn't take away from the ground game, but the air game is obviously these machines are a problem, and people got to get rid of them. And the way to
no, they don't. No, we had literally more of a paper trail than ever. And the machines that they showed, the Dominion ones that they were talking about, are separate from the internet. People put their ballot into it. It digitally counts it, but the ballot itself is locked in a box attached to it and doesn't go anywhere. In these very specific places he's talking about.
What is Michael?
Next time, if you're going to pick a place to say that's where the fraud happened, do it in the places that are slapdash with their elections. Not the places that have locked it down and are good at it.
Analysis. So what are you doing in the run-up to this? We'll get to the politicians. We'll get to the media in a second. But what are you doing on the thing?
What are you doing to not stop the people who are leaving in droves because you're clearly a fucking lunatic?
Off the data.
Yeah, right now we're even having more cyber forensic experts look at this. We're having look at it. I've had, over the past 3 months, my own, I've hired people from everywhere.
You're paying people. People are coming to you and asking for money to look at your stuff, and they're telling you it's what you want it to be. No one could have expected that.
And now we have a whole nother group that's been looking at it the last week here and to validate. So, I want to get there, and any of the media that's there or any of the people there, any doubt, You know, we're going to ask questions right on live TV so they can't take it. And remember, we're going to stream 72 hours straight on frankspeech.com. But
yeah, but you're going to rerun it at night when nobody's there. Or I guess they're going to have people working shifts. I will be streaming next Wednesday the launch of this nonsense without fear or favor, as they say.
They can ask the questions. They can, you know, and then we're going to bring.
Then the next day I leave to go to California because it's my girlfriend's birthday on the 12th. So we're going out of town for 2 days. Bear with me. I'll still be able to live stream 2 out of the 3 days.
After all the cyber symposium or the cyber guys, we break them out in groups. We're going to bring them back twice a day. Bring them back in there and say, hey, what do you think now? What do you think so far? And we're going to, and they'll be able to, you know, I want every single, especially the Facebook fact checker guy that's coming with his cyber guy, where the guy goes, you know what? It is what it is. We have put, sorry, we're going to apologize to the world.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
We've been putting fact checks, covering up stuff on Facebook and social media for a year now, and especially since the election ended. And, you know, their conscience will be clean, you know, because they know it was stolen and they know they're lying.
Have you?
It really is that they do? They know this is what they know? You're telling them what they know? Oh God.
Have you invited people from DHS, from the Biden administration? Have you invited government authorities to be there? CIA, NSA,
Well, of course not, because they're in. I mean, they're puppeted by George Soros, Steve. I mean, keep up.
And have you invited members from DHS that are supposed to look over elections? Have the Biden administration people been invited?
Yes, we've invited. In fact.
He's inviting everyone.
We actually got. We've invited everybody. We got a thing yesterday from Nancy Pelosi saying, "I'm sorry, I have a scheduling conflict." So we're.
And by the way, it was actually a recorded message.
You know, I want everybody there. Like I told CNN, I said, what are you talking about? This isn't about the Democrats warned us of this. This is about China attacking our country. And then they tried to get me on, you know, to badmouth the Democrats, whatever. And I said, I have friends that are Democrats. They now realize that China attacked. And we jumped right over socialism to communism. So.
Oh, do we? We're a communist country now. In case you guys, that whole jobs number thing, that's just cover.
It's they're trying even to play myself against Democrats. No, this is all of us as a country. China. Remember, we have an enemy here.
Well, good. I'm glad we have an enemy here. That's the important thing. China attacked our.
You know, everyone's going to see this. Go, wow! They took our country without pulling a trigger. You know, and this
between the virus,
you know,
between the virus. Yep.
By the way,
yeah. Well, of course you got to mention the virus. Otherwise, why do you have a show called War Room Pandemic, Steve? Clearly.
I just got a call, and I'm not.
Oh, sorry, you're gonna get the walk-off music right about the time you got a special call. Who's the call from?
Say which countries. We might have a speaker from another country, a very high-up politician, very worried about their countries because it's going to be seen from around the world. And
it is okay. Short break, Mike. Hang on. We're gonna come back in the War Room with Mike Lindell in a moment.
Good Lord. I mean, obviously, there's a reason why Steve Bannon is having him on. I'm going to go with that's why. L66, by the way, is Lindell66. It's the promo code to get them. These are all the things he's selling on. See, they go straight from the ad to look at the smile on Steve Bannon's face. That's why. That's why. That's why Steve Bannon has him on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good Lord. All right, I'm going to try and find... I've got radio tomorrow, guys. Of course, guys. I'm never going to be able to say guys again. It's not going to happen. But I've got radio tomorrow, 9 to 11 Pacific time, a.m. On WCPT. We'll be doing our regular show. And another big happy... Hold on. He doesn't need to have that on screen when I say this. Another big happy birthday to Can't Stop Lying. Thanks, everybody, for... let's see. Let me check something real quick. If I can, before I sign off and see what kind of super chat love in the ballpark we got. Hold on, here you gotta go. No, it's not enough kids. And organization. There we go. And the thing. And oh my gosh, look how well you did. Awesome. I think you're gonna like it. I'm not gonna say the number because it's great. But last chance to get in some super chats for Can't Stop Lying. Very exciting. Oh, that's awesome. That's very awesome. Hooray! Nice job, guys. That is a true sign of love towards CSL. So that's awesome. Nice. All right. So I'm gonna sign up. I'll see you guys tomorrow for our regular show, the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, which is also turned into the Hal Sparks Radio podcast, Mega Worldwide, by the lovely people at the Sexy Liberal Podcasting Network. Chris LaVoy does that little cutting for us, and does a lovely job of taking the 2-hour show and cutting it down to about a little over an hour, and you can listen to it that way. And then if we'll see is. I'm going to check and see if our dear friend Ojeda is still up and running. And if he is, he's not on right now. So otherwise I would raid him. But next time, I think he's not on Fridays. That may be the case. But I will, if you guys, by the way, anybody on you like on Twitch and you want to give me a suggestion of somebody I could follow and then we could possibly raid that we can help out that's, like-minded and lovely, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I will add that to my list of possible raids. Because right now the only ones that I follow that would be coming up in the raid is Xbox, because they're playing Rocket League right now on the Xbox channel. Huntington, tomorrow I'm thinking about going to your HP show. Well, please do. Wings spread bright. Come, yeah. I will be next Saturday, the 14th. I will be at the Rec Room in Huntington Beach doing stand-up. And then on the 23rd, we'll have a virtual show for Flappers that I'll be doing from here. And then from home against the backdrop. And then on the 25th, I will also be doing a show at Flappers Live. And that will also live stream to the patrons in the crowd and the members and all that stuff. So just be aware, and it'll be a good time. And what else? That's it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. I'm going to sign off. I've been on quite long today. And also, again, thank you guys for the love and support you've been showing. And thank you for the love and kindness towards our beloved Can't Stop Lying today. Really cool. It's heartwarming. It's really lovely. So thanks so much, you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Take care. See you later.